Good morning. How are you today? Welcome, one and all, to the show. Welcome to Stock Markets with Bruce. It's Uncle Bruce here. First thing in the morning, 5:30 Eastern Time on April the 13th, 2021. Welcome to another day of fun, fun, fun. Till Daddy takes the T-Bird away. How's it going out there? It's so easy.
That was easy.
It's so easy. There's nothing to it. You just get up at 3:30 every morning and you just go live for 3 hours and take couple hours off, go another 2 hours and just talk. It's so simple. It's all you got to do. Just talk to people and hang out with them a little while and walk the fine line between telling them what's going on and making them mad. Good luck with all that. Keep everybody happy from every point of view, and don't make anyone upset. It'll all work out. Thank you for catching up with Uncle Bruce. What is going on here? My gosh, we got a couple of developments here in the pre-market this morning that I wanted to explain to you in plain English. First of all, we heard about an hour ago, I guess it came out that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, of which over 6 million have been 6 million doses have been administered, at least. We're hearing about 6 cases so far, where approximately 2 weeks after an inoculation, 6 people have had issues with some kind of blood clotting. And the CDC is concerned about that, as is the FDA. This is their job. It's what they do. Normally, these are the kind of things that you would discover in a vetting process where you have volunteers who have been subjected to placebos and or the real thing, and you study the effects of a potential vaccine over 2 years to see just what kind of effects you might get for what kind of medical conditions people are suffering from, and so on and so forth. But in our world today that we're in right now, with the COVID world, there is no time for a 2-year study of a vaccine's effectiveness or side effects. We've got to get a vaccine out right now and to the masses, and that is what has been happening. And we have had millions of people receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the others, and we've had the odd instance of side effects, and this particular side effect has caused the FDA to request that the vaccine be held up for the moment for further study. I'm not sure if this is going to stop the Johnson & Johnson distribution in its tracks, or whether it'll delay it for a while. But I can tell you, and I can imagine, I'm sure a lot of you can imagine, that right as we are spending some time here with each other, that there are medical officials who are scrambling right now in laboratories, taking samples of the patient's blood and measuring their reaction, and looking for any kind of possible similarities for other types of patients who might run into this issue. Do these 6 people have underlying conditions that are matching each other that could cause this issue? Something one wants to know. And of course, the other question is, how severe will the reaction be, and for how long? And then they have to weigh one versus the other, the good of millions versus the suffering of dozens, or can they eliminate from the pool people who they're pretty sure would react badly to this vaccine, and only give the vaccine shots to those who have very minimal side effects. And we continue on. This, I'm sure, is happening at all kinds of levels in all kinds of laboratories, and I have a suspicion that the CDC is reaching out to other health authorities worldwide, giving them a heads up. Guys, look, there's what's happening here. We have measured 6 cases or whatever the number is. This is what we've got in front of us. Check your area for all the folks who you vaccinated with this vaccine. Let us know if you're running into the same issues. Let's compare notes. And thankfully, we don't need people to travel to areas to measure this information. You literally have the internet. You literally have satellite communication. You literally have instantaneous access to a lot of data, which just speeds everything up. And welcome to the world in 2021 versus 1951. Amazing how how quickly things can now happen and be determined, and we can move forward. It's truly incredible. Of course, we all wait for the day where we have Dr. McCoy from Star Trek, who kind of comes up to you with a little thing, looks like a pen, it's a little bigger than this thing right here, and he kind of measures you, and then he touches the knob, and then he there you go, you're cured of cancer. Parkinson's, or okay, you're not gonna have Parkinson's now. We're waiting for that day. We're still in the barbarian age. I really enjoyed that movie, that Star Trek movie, for that one liner in the movie where the Star Trek folks came back to Earth in 1984 to save the whales, and then Chekhov fell down and hurt his head, and they had to break into the hospital to get him out of there, and they were just about to start brain surgery on him. They're going to cut his head open. McCoy is looking at him going, "This is the Dark Age? What is this, the Dark Ages?" Got him the hell out of there. Just he's okay now. Let's get him out of here. We don't have to cut open his head and fix his brain. We've got to look after. So we're waiting for that moment to come where our own Dr. McCoy can just give us a little, and it'll all be fine. But in the meantime, we have to deal with what we have to deal with. And so the markets, when the first announcement came out, the first breaking news came out about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the markets went instantly negative on the futures, because the worry is, if there's going to be a disruption in supply of vaccines to those who need it, could that delay the reopening of the economy? And if it delays the reopening of the economy, it holds up a lot of pent-up business that we know is out there. And so markets are twitchy. That's what markets do. Stock markets anticipate the future, Marty McFly, the future. And the Dow Jones was, I think it was down about 140 points on the worst of it. Now it's down 122. And it's kind of sitting here. It's down, 120, 130. S&P is off 9.5 points. NASDAQ is actually up 9 points. Because the funny thing about the markets is that if there's a delay in the reopening of the economy and people getting out, traveling and going to hotels and this type of thing, certain stocks will suffer. On the other hand, if people have to stay home longer and do that at-home economy thing, that means certain stocks benefit. And on the NASDAQ, you've got kind of both sides. You've got tech stocks that are benefiting from the stay-at-home economy. You have tech stocks benefiting from the opening up of the economy. And so NASDAQ is trying to figure out what direction it should go. But the index doesn't do it itself. The index is only a reflection of the shares that are making up the index. And of course, this morning's futures, we have some shares that are doing well, some shares not so well, and everyone's trying to figure it out. Welcome to the future. As far as GameStop goes, to come to that point, it's at 142.02 right now, up 93 cents. So the stock is not under any dramatic pressure this morning. The stock is way oversold right now. For the last 6-7 sessions in a row, it's been down every day. It is way oversold, and there will come a day, today maybe, tomorrow, next week, there will come a day where there will be a snapback rally of some kind, and it could be rather severe on price movement. It could well be that we may see a $30 to $60 run on the stock over a couple of days as it sort of realigns itself. But on the other hand, it may still drop a ways before that does happen. And what we don't know, and what I can't tell you, is will the shares go from 142, where we are now, down to this 100 range and then snap back to 160? Or are the shares reaching this 130 range, and that's about all she wrote for the downside for now? And then she has a 170, 190 up range again, somewhere in the middle of all this. I don't know. But I will say this. and I'm going to stick to my guns on this. The shares will reach at some point in the future. The shares will be at $1,000 a share. That's my prediction. Someday, yeah. I've always people ask me, how high can it go? How high can it go? And I keep saying that the next move for this stock, the next big thing that this stock will do, whenever it does it, is it'll break the all-time high of the stock and set a new all-time high. Well, that means it would have to break $483 a share. At 483.01, that would set a new record for this stock, because the all-time high trade during the market hours, 483. But I feel the shares can go to 1,000 a share, but not today. But would be nice, but I don't call it to go today. But it'll go to 1,000 a share. But what will make it go there? What will absolutely guarantee that it can go there? The corporate story itself, the company's actual fundamentals, its sales projections, analyst recommendations, the right kind of moves, corporate moves, growth, profitability, anticipated profitability. That will make the stock go to 1,000 a share, and it'll keep it there. It won't just kind of get there and come back to $140 a share. It'll keep it. What could make the stock go to that level or higher than that level in a hurry? A potential short squeeze, a potential failure to deliver short squeeze, an option gamma squeeze coupled with greedy and anticipatory investors, ganging up of hedge funds against other hedge funds. Yeah, World War III could run this market to 1,000 a share, but the staying power would be questionable. We've seen this happen before. The shares went to 500 a share in the pre-market, post-market, 483 on the open market, and not stay there and come back to 38.50, where Keith Gill bought a bunch, 50,000 more, and then it went up again. It went up to 346 in a hurry within about a 2-week time frame, and didn't last and came back down again. Yeah, these kinds of waves are very possible, and we could get bunches of them over the next few years. Absolutely, yeah, well, that's true. But what will make this stock go to 1,000 and ultimately keep it in that range and perhaps add to it from there, which I think it'll do. It'll go higher than that. Management, execution of the plan, and the delivery, and the perceived execution of the plan. If the street believes that management in the company are the right people at the right time, doing the right things, and the forecasts for the stock for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years are such that the street believes that this group of people can take this company from here to over there, the shares will start to move on the anticipation of the future, which is what the market is doing right now as I'm sitting here talking to you about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's moving because of the perception of what might happen to the economy in the future. And the Dow right now is down 79 points. It has pumped back up about 30 points while I've talked to you because the perception is, yeah, there's 6 cases of blood clotting or something like that in the case of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But this is not the end of the world. 6 million cases, and we have 6 cases to deal with here. Now, maybe more investigation, more digging into this Johnson & Johnson thing will come up with 25 more cases, or mild cases of blood clotting, but not major. We'll find out. That's what's going on behind the scenes, as I'm telling you. There are researchers and lab technicians and doctors and others who are on it, and that's their job, and we leave them alone to do it. But the market will anticipate second to second what the potential of the market is, the economy is, and in the case of individual stocks, the market will tell us what it thinks about the future of a company. And GameStop right now, $1.16 on the upside to $142.25, volume of 104,000 shares in the pre-market, very quiet, which is telling me there is no panic of people dying to get out because Mr. Sherman is going to be replaced as CEO. Normally, it can happen that when a company is in the middle of a transformation and the top guy, the top executive is, subject to removal or replacement, This could generally not be good for a stock. It could be. Or on the other hand, it could be very positive for a stock, because if he's an unpopular guy, the thinking is, oh, this will be great. But what we have happening here is very rare. And the rarity is we are watching in real time a company change itself over in public. These kinds of things that are happening here at GameStop, usually when this takes place inside a corporation, it's done behind closed doors, and it is done off the record. It is not done in the public eye. Public companies and even private companies, they will go to great lengths to keep everything calm, and not even the employees would know. Not even the employees would know that there's a change coming at the top, except for perhaps a handful of top-notch, access people to the C-suite, corporate suite. The rest would not know. Here in GameStop, it's out in the open. It's out for everyone to see and talk about and speculate on. It's just out there, and there is no stopping this news. This will be speculative news or speculated news for a while, until the company announces a new CEO. Between now and the moment they talk about who they've hired or who's going to join, we get to speculate, and we will. And the market will speculate on just who it could be, what the impact could be, and the market will prejudge the success of the new CEO before the CEO is even hired. Welcome to a publicly traded market. Welcome to a publicly traded company in a publicly traded market. That's how it works out here. In China, it's top secret, and it's all behind closed doors, and you get manufactured press releases where everything is fine, everything's all right, and you have nothing to worry about, and you don't need to discuss it. Just get back to your rice paddies and go back to work and go to your factories and build iPhones, and don't even talk to your friends about it, because if you do, we might arrest you for being against the state. We'll take care of all this. We've got it all figured out. Here in the United States and in Canada and in the outside world, we are free to speculate all we want about what we think is happening here, what we think these guys should be doing or not doing, and we're free to begin speculating on just how smart and how great and how successful and how badly this company is going to work out after and during the hiring process of a CEO. This is what's called freedom. And it's ugly sometimes, and we're in the middle of the sausage making process, and we can kind of watch the sausage being made here, and the stock is grinding its way through all of this, either negative uncertainty, positive uncertainty, positive vibes, negative vibes. This is the open market. Our friends in China, they don't want to be part of that. Although I find that they would like to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange and get our investment dollars, but they don't want to show us how they do what they do. It's kind of funny that way. I have a negative spot for anyone who wants to invest in a Chinese listed company. You got to be nuts. By the way, did you notice that Alibaba got nailed $2.5 billion in a fine by some Chinese regulatory whatever the thing is? Did you find out the details of the fine? No. Did you find out who decided the fine? No. Did you hear anything about there was a fine coming? No. Nothing. You don't need to know that. You're just investors. Shut the hell up. Just buy the stock and shut up. We're taking care of it behind the doors here. We got it covered. It's all right. I don't know how you can invest in a company like that. I don't know. I just go, you kidding me? Really? I have other choices. In any event, that's my Chinese rant for the day. Welcome back to the world of the free world. Here we are watching what's going on today. The Dow is down 62 points. S&P is down 0.5 point. NASDAQ is up 57. So the markets are not doing so badly. This Johnson & Johnson vaccine news is a nothing. It looks to me like it's a nothing as far as this market and this economy in the United States is concerned, and the overall global economy. Not an issue to be worried about. I'm glad it is. I'm pleased that the counts of these blood clot scenarios have been very, very low. I'm very happy that this news came out before the opening rather than during the opening, because during the opening, everyone would then be just going stupid with speculation. Here, you had some early speculation, but things have calmed down awful quickly, and the futures are telling us it's not a big deal as far as economics goes. It looks very much like the economies will continue to move along. It's true in Canada and in states like Michigan and others, there are increasing virus counts popping up, and that is a concern. We don't know how high these counts will get to. We don't know what the ramifications are, or what they're going to be. But at this point, the economy as a whole, the United States as a entire jigsaw puzzle, continues moving forward to reopen and start business. The attitude seems to be we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If we have to deal with regional shutdowns or whatever, I guess we'll deal with it then. You talk to certain experts with respect to disease control and other experts with disease. Each has their opinion on how this should or should not be handled. But the reality is that the United States is not dominated by the Communist Party of the United States or any party of the United States. It is a 50 free states to do whatever they kind of want for the most part. And for better or for worse, that's what you got. And that's what we're watching here. Here in Canada, we have a federal government as well. And we have provincial governments. And the provincial governments rule the roost inside their provinces, generally speaking. And they decide from a health perspective how they want to tackle this virus. And the government of Canada can put out rules and guidance and overall suggestions, but it's the province that have to enact it, and they have to handle it. And sometimes I think many times politics gets in the way of common sense, but that's true of anything. It's not true of just inside a virus, a world pandemic, but it is what it is, and we have to go through with it. As individuals, you decide for yourself. Are you going out with a mask on or not? Are you going into that grocery store with a mask on or not? Even if you don't have to wear one, are you going to wear one anyway? Up to you, isn't it? And if you get ill, don't blame the state. Don't blame your national government. If you're not wearing a mask and you're going out all over the place, maybe you caught it from somebody. Maybe that's what it is. And you have to deal with it and you'll have to live with it. If you're wearing a mask and you get ill anyway, hey, you did all you could and it happened nonetheless. But if you wear a mask and don't get ill, fine, continue on, as you were, kind of thing. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Baking High Bruce tax return just came in. I feel pretty okay about my SPAC distribution. I also have 35 GameStop at 180 average. Good time to average down on GameStop, question mark. Well, it all depends on your timing, doesn't it? If you feel that the shares are going to go back to a higher level and it's within your acceptable time frame, then you average down. But if you feel these shares can go much, much lower because you've seen all kinds of shenanigans going on and you believe that these shares can reach a lower level, you might wait for your moment to strike. Everybody makes up their own mind. I think these shares can reach 1,000 a share, but they're not going to be at 1,000 a share in an hour from now. That I'm pretty sure of that. 2 hours from now, well, you never know. But there's upside here, in my opinion, from a corporate point of view. But you're talking about dealing with people here. We're talking about changes of staff, annual meeting coming up, shareholder votes. This is June the 9th for that. This is today, April the 13th. So, do the math. How many days am I talking about between shareholder day? And then just because it's shareholder vote day doesn't mean that that's the day the shares go to $1,000 a share. I mean, that's the first day of Ryan Cohen's tenureship as chairman of the board. How many days do you want to give this guy? It's up to you, and you have to decide this yourself. So Shares right now, 142.29. Are they a bargain to you? If you think they're going to $1,000, they're a bargain. But if you think that they might go to 100 first and then go to 1,000, maybe they're overpriced. Your call, your money, your time frame. I've given out my opinion on it, and it's just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor to tell you guys exactly what you're supposed to do, because that's not my job. I don't want to be. I'm not here for that. I'm here to interpret what I see going on. And what I see happening on GameStop is it's up $1.12 this morning. It's not down $20 on the pre-market. That's good. It was lower yesterday to 135, sitting at 142. Could it retest the lows from yesterday? Could. Is it trading today? Is the stock trading today on a short sale restricted thing? Yes, it is. It is short sale restricted today. So the shorters can't just hit bids willy-nilly. They can't do it. But it can still have a good day or a bad day. Is the stock oversold? Yes, I think it is. It's dropped 26% over the last 6 days. Yeah, it's oversold. But the market has to collectively believe that and decide whether or not to chase this stock or not to higher levels. And we're going to find out in a few minutes. In about 34 minutes, we'll know how the market feels at the start of the day. Soren, VGAC Media reported earlier that listing has been postponed. Stock is sliding. I bought in February at 1067. Time to shift horse or just a bump in the way. I'm not moving away from this stock. I am all committed to the notion that they are going to list this company as 23andMe, and I don't care how long it takes. The deal is going to go through, and Richard Branson is putting in $25 million of his own money. The gal who founded the company is putting in $25 million of her money at $10 a share, and you can buy it at just above that price anytime you want. And so you got to ask yourselves, if Richard Branson is going to buy $25 million of the stock at $10, should I pay $10.04? If you can't say yes to that answer, don't buy any of this stuff. I mean, if you cannot spend 4 cents more than Richard Branson is spending, and you're not putting in $25 million, are you? What are you putting in? $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000? He's putting in $25 million. He's outdoing you. He's out risking you at $10 a share, and he's restricted. He can't sell them the day after this company lists. He's restricted. He is locked in. You're not locked in. You have the right to do whatever you want. So I think it's an okay buy. I kind of like it. I don't care if it takes a week or two or a month longer. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. This deal is going to be a very heavily talked about and promoted going forward. And I think if you do not pick it up here, eventually you'll go, dang it. Why didn't I buy that stuff? Well, what was I thinking? But you all have to decide for yourselves what is it you want? What kind of tolerance do you have for risk? Can you handle a 4-cent risk on this stock? Because after all, when it's all said and done, if they can't make a deal happen and merge with anybody out there, you get $10 back for your stock. So can you handle a 4-cent risk factor? If you can't, if you're actually questioning it, I don't know what you're doing here watching me. I don't know why you're here. You shouldn't be in this. You should be running to your local bank, wherever your local bank is, and giving them your money for 5 years and let them give you 0.75% interest because it's a guaranteed investment certificate. That might be the risk tolerance you can handle. But if you can't handle a 4-cent risk on a $10 stock for VGAC, maybe the markets aren't for you. So I kind of like the stock. All right, a friend of mine knows a guy who went to a funeral for someone who died of COVID. Guy didn't wear a mask at the funeral. He got COVID at the funeral and died. Well, gee whiz, you go to a funeral for a person who had the virus, and you're in a crowded room and you're surrounded by people. Hello, I don't know what. Sometimes I don't need to make comments, really. Do I need to really say anything? Oh, thankfully, it's much calmer here this morning. Iron is saying, here as always, Bruce, watching and learning. Have a great day. Thank you, buddy, for being here. Oh my God, observe thyself. Who do you mean? So who do you mean then? Tell me. I don't know what this is. Let's see. What else is going on? Let's continue on here. If you believe in a company, it's always good to average down. Hedging is in this scenario would be buying at least a few shares along the way down. I've always recommended to my clients over the years when I was in the brokerage business, they would say to me, Bruce, I really like this company that you're recommending to me. You know, what do you suggest I do? And I would say to the client, you know, you have a certain amount of money right now that you're looking to invest in. You know, let's buy these shares in this company. We'll buy 500 shares now. And then every couple of months, why don't we buy 100 shares more at whatever they're trading at? And that way, over the next 3, 4, 5 years, you're just acquiring this stuff up. You're buying this for the long-term growth of this entity. Maybe it's the Royal Bank of Canada stock. It used to be Bell Canada stock. It used to be Shaw Cable. It used to be, I mean, I'm back in the 80s and the 70s and 80s. So, you know, the big stalwart companies that we had back then, you know, some of the big life insurance companies and so on. And I would tell my clients, look, buy 100 shares every month or two when you can afford another 100. And it doesn't matter what the price of the stock is. You're a long-term lifer, a supporter, a believer. You've seen this company grow for 40 years already. You're going to be involved with it for the next 10 years. And in 10 years from now, your average price will be somewhere in the average range of this stock. And there will be days where you'll be just loving life because the markets are at all-time highs and your average in this stock is somewhere way down here. And then there'll be weeks and months where you're going to hate life because your average is here and the markets are at 5-year lows. They haven't been this low in 5 years, and you're all upset because your stock is down below what you paid for it. But at the end of the day, over the long haul, come 10, 12, 15 years, the likelihood is you've been receiving dividends every quarter from the company, and they keep bumping up the size of the dividend. Inflation has something to do with it, but also growth. And the company has continued to grow and build its base, and maybe they've acquired a little competitor over here. They bought a little company over there, and they just kept adding to their size and their market share. And they're on top of their game, and you like the management, you still like the management. You've been impressed with the changeover in management over the last 15 years, that the top 20 people running the company are just as dynamic as the top 20 that used to run the company 15 years ago. And you're up 50%, 80%, 100%, 300% on your money, and you're still buying it every month. What is wrong with any of that? Nothing. The problem in today's world, what's wrong with that, is many of you out there do not have more than an 8-second attention span, especially those of you who are giving me thumbs downs. You're looking for the big tip that I can give you that will make you a millionaire this afternoon. And I hate to break it to you, but that actually doesn't exist. There really is no tip. It exists in the movies. You can watch movies where guys make millions of dollars in the stock market, all in a 90-minute movie. But in real life, it doesn't quite work that way. Even Steve Jobs took years to become very wealthy. Took decades for Steve Jobs to become a very wealthy person. But on the outside looking in, we dream about, oh, wouldn't it be great to be as rich as some of these guys like Tim Cook and so on. Sure, but Tim isn't 21 years old. He's a lifetime of work, not a lifetime of play. You may have noticed that you don't see pictures of Tim Cook lying at the beach in Monaco, clubbing in Paris, and living the high life. Whenever you see images of Tim Cook, you'll see him in an interview, perhaps at the Apple complex. He's just coming from the office in front of a microphone, talk for 10 minutes, and then he's going back to the office. And if he has to leave the complex and fly to Shanghai for business, he's spirited right to the airport, to the private jet, flies over there, and during the flight for 12 hours, he's working. He's napping, and he's working, and he's organizing himself to get ready for meetings, which happen in Shanghai for maybe 8 to 10 to 12 hours. and then maybe he flies back, and he's sleeping on the way back, so that when he gets back to Cupertino, he's back in the office, fresh and ready to go, and he's changing his clothing in the airplane or in his office, and he's not schlepping around enjoying his wealth. He's building your wealth to another level, which takes him higher, of course, but that's the life he's got. And it's been decade in and decade out and decade in and decade out to get there. And we on the outside are spoiled rotten. We just want to know, can you just tell me when to buy Apple stock so that, you know, in the next week or two, it'll go up $20 a share, and I can just buy a pile of options, you know, way out of the money options, and take $5,000 and turn it into 50 grand. Can you just tell me exactly when to do that? If you can't tell me that, you're not much of a YouTuber. And there's what I'm up against in some cases. But as a broker, you know, I condition my clientele over the decades that you're an investor now. And if you take a look at coworkers in your world, you may find that some of them have been investors for 15 and 20 years. Now I'm talking to people in like 1980 to say, for the last 20 years, since 1960, there's people that you know, that you work with, that you've run into, that have been investors in this market since 1960. And they're still investing to this day in 1980. And they've seen unbelievable changes. And you, from 1980 until 2000, when you reach your 60s, you're going to see unbelievable changes. And those investors out there who started investing in the 2000s, here we are, 2021, you've seen unbelievable changes, have you not? Well, guess what's going to happen in the next 20 years? Unbelievable changes between 2021 and 2041, unbelievable changes. And you're running into me. I've been around since the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000, you know. I'm still around, but I'm no longer the dominant dog in the brokerage office. I'm not the old senior broker, because I'm retired, and I'm just giving you my take on it all and trying to help you understand what's really going on, or try to make it as simple to understand as possible. But you've got to decide for yourselves what your future is all about and what do you want to invest in. And one of the recommendations I've always made to my clients is invest in what you know. So you want to invest in software design, but you're not familiar with what software design is all about. You're kind of limiting your ability to monitor your investment and compare your investment to other companies. On the other hand, if you're an economist, if you have an economy background and you have a dollars and cents appreciation, then you can be an analyst over many types of businesses and industries. Fair enough. But if your passion is into computer chip design, or your passion is you love buying and selling stuff on eBay and buying stuff on Amazon, and you're familiar with everyone in the e-commerce business, well, then zero in on that area and find your favorite stocks, find your companies that you feel are really on a growth curve, or discover companies that are small that you feel can become much larger because of how well they're run. It's whatever you're passionate about. That's the name of the game. So if you're into cars, you're into car stocks. You're into railroads, you're into railroad stocks. You're into airplanes and holidaying, you're into travel stocks. It's the whatever. On the other hand, if you're a generalist, many of you are, you just don't want to be burdened with the one choice that could be the right or wrong choice to make with your investments. Now you are the perfect ETF or mutual fund investor. And you buy a growth fund. And a growth fund, let those guys be the deciders of what to buy and sell inside the fund. You're just buying the fund, and let them buy and sell growth stocks at their leisure, because that's what they're paid to do. Fantastic. Now you just put so much in every month or every quarter into an IRA or 401k, however you're investing into it, and let it do what it does and forget about it. Don't worry about the minute-to-minute minutia, and watch me for fun. Just watch me for fun if that's what you want to do. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. It's nice to have you here. We're at 6:09 my time, so we're opening up in 21 minutes. 8:30 in the morning, New York time. We open up. I think, is that right? 9:30. Sorry, 9:30 New York time. It's 8:09 New York time right now. It's 9:09. Sorry, it's 9:09 New York time right now. 3 hours is my difference here, and we're opening up in 21 minutes. The Dow right now is down 61 points on the futures, which is a dramatic improvement from the 145 low we had earlier today. S&P is up 2.2, Nasdaq's up 75. So we have the markets mixed, coming on with a bit of upward momentum. Oil is at up 63 cents a barrel to $60.33 a barrel. So oil is a little better, not a lot better, but it's a little better. And that's where we're at. GameStop, 141.63 right now is where GameStop is hanging around at the moment. On AMC, the shares are up 9 cents a share to $8.71. Unfortunately for AMC, the stock is below the $9 mark, well below the $10 mark, and well off the $14 mark it had about 2 weeks ago. And the reality for AMC is they're going to double their share counts. They're going to issue more stock going forward to pay down debt, and they're going to dilute their shareholders further. And there are whisper rumors out there that $5 to $6 a share is going to be the new neighborhood for GameStop shares. That's the whisper rumors. I'm hoping it won't happen. I'm hoping the stock does well, but cannot ignore the reality that a year ago, there were 107 million shares outstanding, 107 million. There are now 450 million out now, and there could be up to 1 billion out a year from now. Will it go up in 50 million and 100 million increments? Most likely. If the company issues paper, it'll be in dribs and drabs. But the thinking is that if they issue bonds that are convertible into stock, they might issue bonds that pay 2% interest, where the stock, it's convertible into stock at $7 a share for 5 years, or $7.50 a share for 5 years, or whatever they have to do to bring cash in to survive the downturn. Now, if viruses and variants of viruses continue to pester business, and in certain areas of the U.S. and Canada, especially the U.S. where the AMC theaters are, if movie theaters are from time to time going to be shut down in certain regions for certain amounts of time because of variants, this will cause havoc with the balance sheet of AMC. It's going to create all kinds of havoc. It won't help Hollywood studios. It won't help movie distribution companies. It won't help theater chains. It won't help restaurants around movie theaters. It won't help communities that have movie theaters, because there'll be a lack of business in certain regions from certain points at time to time. The hope we have, of course, is that the virus goes away, everybody gets better. A year from now, we look back on these days as the bad old days, and that we're all fine again. But we can't say that right now. And the reality for AMC is they need to raise a lot of cash, because they are about 11 billion in the hole here, and they've got to come out of it. So we'll see what happens, one day at a time. Over at Chewy, that is the stock you want to watch out of the corner of your eye to see how things are going at Chewy, because that company has turned a profit. That company is a Ryan Cohen creation. That company is absolutely playing the Ryan Cohen playbook that he invented with this company. And that this company, I think, is going to be very nicely recommended by a lot of analysts going forward as a buy, because of its the ability of it now to turn a bigger profit every quarter. And I'm kind of wondering if this company will reach the 70 billion market cap neighborhood sometime this year. Right now, the stock and the company is valued at about $35 billion in market cap. If GameStop were to be valued right now at $35 billion market cap, your shares would be at $500 a share. If this company gets recommended to the point where it will reach a market cap level of 70 billion, and GameStop were to reach that level along with Chewy, GameStop shares would be $1,000 a share. There are only 70 million actual shares in GameStop. So we'll see how this goes. Watching Chewy all the time. It's not doing much at this point. It's at 182.75 a share. Not what's going on. All right. What is the market going to do on the opening? We'll see here soon. The Dow is down 60. S&P is up 2.7. Nasdaq is up 80 points, and GameStop is 142.08, up 99 cents right now. Volume 123,000 shares. The high for the morning for GameStop 144. So it's really only trading between this 139 to 144 level, and in the last, well, I'd say hour or so, it has been around this 142, 143 to 141 range. That's kind of where it's been lately. 142.35 right now. We are 15 minutes from the opening of the markets to get things started. So we'll see what's going on. Thank you all of you for coming around and visiting with me today. Thank you for joining this channel as members. So appreciate that. If you're a member of this channel, you know that you from time to time will get alerts from yours truly regarding the markets. Sometimes I'll alert you on a specific story you should be aware of. Other times you'll be alerted to a new stock that I'm following that you might want to keep an eye on. Thank you, those of you who have become members of this channel. I hope you're enjoying the perk of these alerts from time to time. You get to use emojis, you get to comment on my live show, and I welcome all of you to the channel. Those of you who are members, and those of you who are just watching me casually, it's free to watch, which is great. You can watch me for free without any cost whatsoever. But to make a comment, we're trying to keep troll activity to a minimum. And so I thank you, all of you who are following us and becoming members of the channel. It is much appreciated. Those of you who've been doing super chats and super stickers, you guys are great as always. I thank you so much for that. It's good to welcome all of you here to the show. I know a bunch of you are waiting. If these shares back off, you're looking to buy more of these GameStop shares. Well, we'll see how all that plays out. Again, the shares will do sometimes the absolute opposite of what you think they're going to do. It's funny how the market works. You've got a thought in mind. You have a game plan in mind. You're ready to jump into a stock, and it does the opposite. You just never know. Right now, 141.80 up 71 cents. If you think it's going to 100, it might go to 200. You just never know. What can I tell you? Thank you, all of you who are here. It's tremendous that you've come to join me today. I do appreciate it. So there you have it. We've got 2,900 of you watching me now live, getting ready for the opening in 12 minutes. We have 660 folks giving us a thumbs up today, which is always appreciated. Thank you for those of you who've been taking the time to make sure I get a thumbs up every day to help this channel grow on YouTube. I really appreciate it. We have 69 people who feel negative towards the channel today. So we're at almost a 10-to-1 up to down ratio. There we go. We're 700 thumbs ups now. We're definitely a 10-to-1 ratio, positive versus negative. Thank you for being here and upvoting this channel, telling YouTube to send more people here to watch this channel. I'm very appreciative of that, of course. All of you, thank you so much for all of it. 787 now, we're approaching 800 thumbs ups quickly. Thank you, everybody. This is just great. What else is going on here? People are wondering is peanut butter merging with jelly? How low are we going to go today? Don't forget the thumbs up for Bruce. I think the interns are here now. Kevin is saying 30-to-1. Come on, you guys, you got to give him 30-to-1 on the thumbs up. Thank you. Bruce, can you give an example of covered call contract losing money, not equating unrealized gains to losses, but actual realized losses? All I can tell you is that when you are writing a call contract against stock, you're basically bringing in some insurance money against your portfolio. If you own stock of GameStop with an average price of $150, and the stock's at 142 right now on the pre-market, it starts trading at 142. You can write whatever contract against your stock you want. If you have 100 shares or more, you can write one contract for every 100 you got. There's no rules telling you what price to pick for the exercise price. There's no rule telling you what exercise date to pick either. You can go from here a year out, at least a year out if you want, and you can go from down as low as $50 a share up to $500 a share easily. You can write contracts anywhere in this $450 range with up to 52 weeks easily of time. That's a lot of contracts to think about. And so you've got to wonder, what am I going to do? If you're looking for income, to add income into your account while holding the stock anyway, and your attitude is, I'm not here for a week, I'm not here for a month, I'm here for years. I'm on the Ryan Cohen Express long term. Well, then up to you how you want to play this. You want to write a contract that's out of the money, that has a very short lifespan, maybe this Friday, like expired in 2 days, 3 days, or next week Friday, or a month from now. Well, you can decide if that's the way you want to do it. On the other hand, you can say, you know what? This stuff goes to $500 a share. I'm a happy guy. I'm way up on my money. I'm happy to offer my stock at $500 a share right now. I'll write a $500 contract, good for 6 months. Okay, take me out in the next 6 months for $500 a share, plus the premium you're going to give me right now, and I'm a happy guy, happy girl. Well, this all depends on what the value of that contract is, depending how much you're going to get. Can you bring in $20 or $30 a share right now to offer your stock at $500 a share for 6 months? Is that actually doable? And is that work for you? Because you got to understand that in the next month, the shares can go up and down $30, $40 a share, and it won't affect these contracts very much because they have so long to live and they're so far out there that they're not going to really fluctuate that much. They might fluctuate 5% or 8% in value. However, if you are playing the game of, I think that the shares will be less than $500 a share between now and 6 months from now. That's my guess. And if I can get a nice big fat premium right now up front to give the option player 180 days to realize a gain, but they're paying me a big bunch of money right now to do it, then that might appeal to you. And so, I mean, theoretically, you could just buy the stock right now at 142 a share. Let's say we're open. You could buy 100 shares for $14,200, turn right around and write a contract 6 months down the road for $25 premium. You're bringing in $2,500 from your $14,000 purchase. So in effect, if you don't do anything and the shares don't go over 500 between now and the time this option expires, you're sitting there with your stock and $2,500 in cash, and you can do whatever you want. You can sell the stock at whatever it's trading at. You can write new contracts all over again. You can buy more stock with the $2,500 you were given. Up to you. I mean, you're in control. Can you lose money on this deal? Yeah, I guess you could lose money. Look, the stock could go down to $50 a share, and your contracts are worthless. So that's okay. You keep $2,500. That's all yours now. So that reduced your losses because the stock was 142 and it's now at $50. Your losses went from 142 to 117 a share, but you're still down because the stock's at $50. So you didn't lose $92 a share. You lost 67 or whatever it is per share, but you've lost money. You could, though, write new contracts at that point for another 3 or 6 months or whatever you want. If you can bring in another $25 on premium, depending on how far out you go. I mean, okay, then you're bringing your cost average now down to about $92 because twice you've sold $25 contract, but you're still upside down on your investment. So you can lose money playing the option market as a writer and buying the shares, and yeah, you can lose money. You might lose less money than others who don't do anything. You won't lose more money than someone who doesn't do anything. That won't happen. But you have to decide whether or not you're going to write a contract or not. If you write a contract for next week, Friday, it's got 9 days of life in it, and you're writing a 175 contract, maybe you can bring in $15, $20 a share in premium money for that next week, Friday contract. Well, now you're gambling that the shares will stay under 175, because if they do stay under 175 until next Friday, even if they go to 174.99, those contracts will die worthless, and you keep all the money you brought in on your premium right now. You keep all that money. On the other hand, if the shares do go to 180, the contracts might only be worth $5 on the last day they have to live. You buy them back for $5. Well, you sold them for 17, let's say. You buy them back for $5. You've made $12 a share. 100 shares, $1,200. 1,000 shares, $12,000. How many shares you got? Just multiples of 100. So okay, you made $12 in your pocket because the shares went to 180, and you bought the contract back for less than you paid for it. But don't forget, the stock was 142 today, and it's 180 next Friday. You're up $38 a share, as well as making $12 on that contract. So you've actually had a double win. Even though you lost money writing a call in a funny kind of way, you didn't really lose. You lost some money because you sold the call at 17. You had to buy it back for $5. So you only made $12 on the call contract, but you did make $38 on the stock. So you're up $50 a share, $5,000 for every 100, $50,000 for every 1,000 shares you've got. What's your risk tolerance level? What is it you want from the stock? If your attitude is, I'm buying it here, I'm holding it here, I'm not going to do a darn thing, because at any time the stock could go to $1,000 a share based on a short squeeze, then if that's the attitude you have, do nothing. Just sit and just watch Bruce babble on all day long, or not, and I'll have your phone alerted with your broker to let you know when your stock's $1,000 a share, and leave it at that. That's okay. Whatever works for you. On the other hand, if you're kind of going, well, I thought it would be 1,000 a couple months ago and it didn't happen, and now it's 142, and I could kind of use some cash flow, or got a lot of money into this thing, and I would really like to be compensated for all the time I've put into this and all the stress, and listening to Bruce is nice and all, but I kind of like to make some money too. Well, maybe what you'll do is you'll write call contracts against your stock. And maybe you will write $200 call contracts, or 250s, or 300s, good for a month or 2 or 3, and you'll bring in some premium money. I don't know. It's kind of up to you. On the other hand, you decide, I don't want to write a contract that has more than a week life in it. I want to be out of this thing by Friday. Every Friday, I want to be flat. Every Friday, I want to be flat. Well, you write a call contract that expires this Friday. Well, if you write a $400 call contract that expires this Friday, you're going to get nothing for it. You're getting 50 cents. You're getting nothing because you're so out of the money. You're not getting any money. But if you write a 150 or a 160, you'll probably get some decent premium money for the next 2.5 days. But you better be watching your stock very closely on every nuance of trading, every move of the stock, because no one knows when this stock, which is oversold now, very oversold, could snap up $50 a share in one day, because this stock is so oversold right now that it could pop at any time. So you got to be watching for that. Anyway, thank you all of you for being here. Thank you for all these comments. Thank you to SI for this donation. Hey, Bruce, is it correct to they have no time limit to cover their short positions? If that's the case, then I believe there is no squeeze coming. Just GameStop growing after RC becomes chairman. They may or may not. I know that the shorters of the stock have been carrying short positions, or there have been short positions on the stock from 2015 many of them, and they've come and they've gone, they've come and they've gone, they've come and they've gone. A bunch of them got wiped out in January. They got wiped out and they lost billions. But there are new shorters since, and there are shorters right now. And there is no time frame at the moment where they must get out of their position by Friday. None of that is going on. So no, there's no imminent push there. Walter, is it allowed to be chairman and CEO of a company? Can you do it? Yes, you can be. You can be CEO and chairman. Yes, you can. That is true. Certain companies won't allow it. Certain companies don't want that within their organizations. This company, I think you can. I think you can be chairman and CEO at the same time. I think we're opening. We're about to open on the market. Let me take a look here. Yep, we are opening up on New York. The bell is going right now. And so let's see what the market has in store for us today, April the 13th, 2021. Let's see what's going on here. GameStop looks like first trade 141.93. It would appear to be higher. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. Waiting to see the final, the first few minutes here as it sort of figures itself out. And I'm looking at AMC at 8.58, down 4 cents. GameStop up 32 cents at the moment. Well, what's going on here? Nick, can you explain stocks being oversold and overbought? What is the difference? I'll get into that. KW, good morning, Bruce. I've been watching Kramer and keep hearing bad about him. Can you tell him why you like him? You're always going to hear good and bad things about Jim Cramer or anyone else who's on the network of CNBC or anyone like me on YouTube. You're going to get good and bad impressions from other people of other people. I mean, that's just life, and you have to decide for yourself. Do you believe it? Do you concur? Do you disagree? Do you partially concur, partially disagree? You got to decide for yourself. Kramer, I like Kramer. He and I are about the same age. We're of the same vintage. He's been through the wars. He has seen stuff from his angle. I've seen stuff from my angle. Certain things we've witnessed at the same time together in our own unique locations. I think if I ever met him in person, I think he and I would get along pretty quickly because we would share war stories, perhaps, I guess. But everybody has their opinion about who they like. I mean, David Faber, here is Dave. And then there's Joe Kernan. I mean, David and Joe used to be partners on the morning shows together and on CNBC. And they've now drifted to these two different parts of the network. I enjoyed them as a partnership. I don't enjoy Joe Kernan anymore as an individual guy because I think Joe Kernan is more of a political hack wannabe. I think he wants to be more into politics than business. But that's just my personal opinion, and it's okay. I mean, whichever way you want to do it. The CNBC people are happy that Joe does what he does in the early morning show, and they like what Faber and Kramer are doing on this part of the show, and it's great. I miss Mark Haynes terribly. I really liked Mark Haynes. He was a no bullshit kind of guy. You smelled funny, he would tell you smell funny. He asked you a question. If you were president of a company and he asked you a question and you skirted around it, he would come right back at you and go, "You're not answering my question." Those kinds of guys don't exist much anymore on television. I really like Mark Haynes, but Mark Haynes died suddenly of a heart attack at age 60, whatever he was at, and his time had come and gone, and we move on, right? We move on. I'm here, Jim's here, Dave's here, others are here. All the other YouTubers are here. We're either all live at the same time, or we're live at different times of the day. We do videos or we don't, and you get to choose who you like and not like. And I appreciate all of you who are here with me. That's fantastic. Can you explain overbought and oversold? I will try. There are the technical viewers out there. There are the technicians among us who, like for example, you go to a horse race. You go to a local track. I don't know if you've ever been to a horse race track, horse race meet. You're watching thoroughbreds or standard breds. You're watching the horses, and you've got different kinds of bettors. And you can see them for yourself. One of the neatest things you can do if you go to the races, a night at the races, is people watch. Watch people bet and watch people react to horse racing. It says everything about life you want to know. And my mom and dad loved going to the horse races. It was my fault. I had introduced them into the standard bred world by having them come out one night to the Elmira racetrack in Southern Ontario. I think it was Friday nights. Elmira had the Friday night races once a week. And my mom and dad had never been to horse racing before, and they were hooked right off the bat, because my father, being an analytical kind of guy, loved the program. He loved the listing of all the horses, and he would look at all the technical information. And my mother she was the hunch. She had the hunch that she could look at a horse and she could see just how the horse was reacting in the warm-up. And that gave her the vibe that it was incredible. And there were times where my dad was right on it. He would put down some money on a horse and win. And then there were times when my mother would put down money on a horse. My father would think, this thing hasn't got a chance. It's going for the glue factory. And it would win. And my mom would come in with these big payoffs, and my dad would come in with these steady bets. And he had the long-term view and so on. Well, in the stock market, it's exactly the same thing. You've got people on the floor of the exchange, in the trading rooms, the stockbrokers, the clients, the viewer, the bettors, and we all are different. Some of us are technical oriented. Some of us are a mix of technical and hunch, and others are pure hunch only. And overbought, oversold. That is where you have, like, for example, the Dow Jones Industrial goes down, 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 like 8 out of 10 days in a row. It's negative, negative, negative. Selling, selling, selling. There comes a point in time where bargain hunters come along and sniff out deals where certain stocks have just gone too far, too low, too far, too fast. And people are just selling because everyone else is selling. And that's when you are the opportunist to pick up deals. And a stock can be, or a market can be oversold over a certain point in time, and yet the market direction is still going to be down anyway, because we're in a bear market or we're in a retreating market. But there are days where you get these massive surges, upsurges, and sometimes it lasts half a day, sometimes it lasts a week, and then it peters out, and then the downdrift continues again. And that can be in a stock, in an index, in a sector, anything. And there are professionals out there who are paid by brokerage firms to be their technical analysts. Just technically tell me, where is this market at? And what are they looking at? They're looking at the 50-day moving average for a stock, the 100-day moving average, the 200-day moving average. What is that? Every day, the stock closes at a set price. And people write down that number, they note that. And then the next day, it closes at that price. And they do that for years. And they look back at a stock's history over the last 6 months, a year, 5 years, and they begin to draw lines on charts that reflect the average price of the stock in the last 50 days. And that's easy to do. I can take a look at a stock like GameStop and go, okay, it closes at 141 last night. That's where it closed at. 50 days back, I can tell you every day it closed at whatever price it closed at, divided by 50, add it all up, divided by 50, I can tell you the 50-day price as of last night's close. And then I can do that for the day before, the day before, the day before, and I draw a line, and it's the 50-day moving average. And so you'll see how the stock meanders along, up and down, and there's this line that's much more conservative. It's not as gyrating. The 50-day moving average. You can have a 100-day moving average, a 200-day moving average, a 365-day moving average. There are technical analysts who strongly believe that any stock that breaks the 50-day moving average, either on the way down or on the way up, that is a technical move of overbought, oversold. And the same with the 200-day moving average. And then there's the indexes that have their 50-day moving averages, their 200-day moving averages. There are technicians that only watch indexes, that only watch oil prices, that only watch traveling stocks only, or individual stocks only. They watch all these technical indicators, and they look at what kind of volume does the stock have when it has an up day, And what kind of volume does the stock have when it has a down day? And that's also done by the markets as well. Technical analysts will review that kind of information to figure out if we're going to trade over this many shares today, the likelihood is the stock will have an update today. And if it does have an update today, historically speaking, when it trades these kinds of volumes on an up day, the gains are usually this much. You get down to the minutia of this market, it's unbelievable how detailed and thorough people can get with respect to the moving averages. Speaking of moving, GameStop is moving. It's at 136.33. It's moving down in price at 136.33 or 136.32. The volume on GameStop, however, is only 639,000 shares, but it is a down dip to start the morning. Why would it be that there would be selling right into the first 10 minutes of the opening when in 2.5 hours of pre-market trading, for 2.5 hours, the stock was up a couple of bucks almost all morning, was in the 140 to 143, 144 range. Why is it that the stock is sitting all morning in the pre-market in the lower 140s, and within 7 or 8 minutes of the opening, the stock goes down to 136 a share? Can anyone answer me that question? I know the answer. It's a trick question. I know the answer. The answer is, if you are a hedge fund and or an investor and you are short a ton of GameStop stock, you do not want the stock ever to look good. You're short the stock. You have a biased opinion that you want the stock to go down in value. You're short. You need it to go down. You cannot make it look good. You can't have it look good. You have to make it look terrible. What can you do to help ensure that your short position has the right atmosphere with the stock to help you with your cause? The cause of which is move the market lower and make it look terrible. What you do is you sell stock, and you don't sell stock in a little tiny way. You put in market sell orders and crash the market as hard as you can to get everyone backing off, going, oh, what's wrong with GameStop? It's still going down. And right now, 135.60 was the low trade this morning, 135.60. It's now at 137.50, and the volume is 718,000. So with less than 1 million shares, you can drive this stock down as low as 135.60 on the opening gambit and make it look absolutely terrible and make people feel like they're idiots if they put in a buy order. This is what these guys will do every day, several times a day, until the buyers say enough's enough. You guys are not offering us enough paper as you're doing this. We're going to buy everything you have and then some. And when we get to that point, we're oversold. But we're not yet oversold because it would appear to me we're not yet oversold because the stock can still be manipulated on the way down, like it just got manipulated to 135 or so a share. That is what we're talking about right here. It's overbought, oversold. It is technically oversold from an angle of, we had sorry, folks, I'm just looking at some comments here. We had okay. Let's do this. Sorry, let's do that for a minute. We have a scenario where the stock overall is oversold from a technical point of view over the last 6 trading sessions. But during the day, you can still get manipulation that can exaggerate it even further. On the other hand, the stock of GameStop, now at 136.23, this is the kind of stock that in half an hour from now could have a snapback rally to 166 a share and would make the shorter, this morning's shorter, look like an idiot. But until it happens, it's all speculation, and it's just a guy talking. It's just a 65-year-old guy telling you what he thinks can happen in plain English. The reality is it's 136 a share right now, 135.33 right now. It's almost at the low of the day at 844,000 volume, and it is being manipulated again because, again, no seller in their right mind that has to sell stock, that has to liquidate, would do this. There is no way sellers would purposely crash a market to get off stock. They would slowly feed it in without pressure. There is no need to run this market down on purpose unless you have one objective, well, maybe two objectives. You own put contracts on the other side of this trade, and you're trying to run your puts higher by dropping the market, or you're short stock all over the street, and you're now using other brokers, and you might literally be using accounts that you have from Zurich and London and Paris and Berlin and Tokyo and everywhere, and you're putting in market sell orders into the market to drop this market and make it look just terrible, to try to scare people to get them out so that you're gathering up stock at a lower price. The reality, though, might be that you are short a lot of stock, a ton of this stuff, but you need to get this down to $85 a share to break even. That's how far away you still are. And you've managed in the last 2.5, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you have managed with millions of dollars of capital and everything else to slowly but surely grind this market down to where we are right now, 134.18 a share. You've managed to get it all the way down here to 134.01 for the low trade of the day. You're still not even, because you were so upside down on this thing at $340 something a share. You were down $260 a share. Now you're still down $50 a share. You've come a long way back. The margin requirements have come down on you. You don't have to come up with as much money to hold your short position. Why? Because the stock is a lot cheaper than it was at 346. This is all just Bruce speculating on what could be happening. And this seller is using all kinds of brokerage connections and links and sub accounts to give the appearance of global weakness of the stock. And they've hired shills to put out the nasty news. They've hired analysts to release analytical reports that say sell the stock. And people actually believe that these are real analysts. They believe that these bloggers are real market analysts that really should be adhered to. And if it works, it works. If you've got enough money, you can hire 20 of these guys to write negative articles on the stock every week or two. A new article or two articles comes out per guy. You got 20 guys or girls. You get 40 articles a week being written around the world about how bad GameStop is and what a lost cause the company is. And you do these short attacks to keep driving this market down. You are going to slowly but surely win until the buyers who are, the fans of the company who are long this stock, until they as a group, either individually or collectively, gang up on these guys and go, watch this, we're buying this stock because we like what Mr. Cohen is doing. But until that happens, we're going to do this. We're going to keep watching this nonsense take place. 134.10, 134. This is the low of the day right now, down $7 a share in 18 minutes. 18 minutes, it's down 5%. And in theory, it's traded 1 million shares. And I'm asking myself, was there really, truly, was there somebody with 1 million shares that had to get out of the stock in 18 minutes? Is that really what we're dealing with here? Is that really what had to happen? Someone had to sell 1 million shares in 18 minutes rather than feed this 1 million shares into the market when it was trading at 140, 144 all morning. They didn't sell it there. They waited till the opening, and then they just sold it for whatever they could find a buyer for. Is this truly a sophisticated investor doing this? I don't think so. And someone with 1 million shares, think about this, kids. 1 million shares at $140 a share is a $140 million position. 1 million shares at $140 a share is $140 million. Now think about this. Who do you know? I don't know anyone with $140 million of stock, but who would you know that can you imagine someone that has the kind of money, the kind of power, the ability to own $140 million of stock, all right, would then turn around and tell their brokerage firm, sell it for whatever you can get it for in 18 minutes, I want out, and cause the stock to drop $8 a share to 133 something, costing them value of up to $8 million. Why would anyone do that? All these Bugattis that are out there and all these high-end Ferrari cars out there and all these mansions around the world that the very wealthy people own, the Monte Carlo photos that you see when you watch the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, you see all these very well-to-do people in their very well-to-do yachts, these $100 million yachts and $150 million yacht. All these people with all these assets, do you think there's actually people like that out there that would own this much stock and would be this stupid to just sell it at any price possible after all the news that's come out on GameStop in the last month now, with all the new hires and how Cohen is taking over the company and now they're hiring a new CEO? These people would be so naive and ignorant and unaware that they would just want to sell 1 million shares into the market at whatever they can get for it. Do you actually believe that this is real selling from a real investor? I don't think so. I think it's all manipulated. I think it's all artificial. I think it's all pretend. I think it is market manipulation. I think it's illegal. I think it's illegal. But I don't think there's a law that says you cannot sell stock in an open market at market if you want to. You can't. I don't think anyone can stop you from doing that. And so the shares hit 132 about a minute ago. Now they're trading at 134.76, and we've had 1.3 million shares trade hands. That's what we've got. But it looks to me like this is completely manufactured, completely artificial activity. This is not 1 million people each trying to sell one share. This is not 100,000 people each trying to sell off 10 shares for whatever they can get for it. That is not what's happening here. I think almost all of this 1.3 million trading, maybe 1 million of the 1.3 million trading, I will guess my 40 years experience is screaming at me that this is a manipulated play to make the market look like crap. And if any of you are falling for this, I'm sorry to hear it, but I don't think you guys are. I think so many of you who watch me have seen us watch this time and time again to kind of go, you know what? This is a buying opportunity. This thing's a dip at 131. It's a dip at 136. If it goes to 125, it's a bigger dip. It just gets bigger and bigger. I just don't know for sure. I don't know who it is, of course. I don't know how much they're upside down. I don't know how many gazillions are on the line here. I don't know what the objective price is. And even when it gets there, I don't know how many shares they need to buy back. This is the thing that I also think about. Right now, it has taken 1,470,000 shares of trading to get the stock from the 141 open price, a 142 high of the day, down to 132, and we're now at 135. So 1.4, almost 1.5 million shares have moved around to get the stock where it is. But I don't think that the shorter has been able to buy any stock. I think the shorter is short more stock. So more shares are shorted. The stock is lower, yes, but I think they're short even more stock to get it to this level. And at 132 to 135, it went up $3 in like 3 minutes, just a real shot. I don't know if they can actually buy more shares than they're selling. Something tells me they're selling more shares than they're able to buy back, even here at 135 a share. That's my hunch. I only wish this were the 80s and I was the branch manager and I could pick up the phone and talk to my floor trader on the floor, and I could ask that guy, my best buddy, what is going on. And then he would say to me, the selling is coming from one house. It's one guy who's selling this stuff. It's not the whole street. because that's the first thing we would always want to know when a stock took a dump. Who is selling this stuff? And we would get the floor would call up and say, it's one seller, it's house so-and-so, everyone else is a buyer. There's 25 buyers, one seller, and the seller is hitting every bid they can find. They are purposely trying to drive the market down. Now, in the old days when I was around, it was not uncommon where we would, I'd get a call from my floor trader. He'd call me and he'd say, hey, I just want you to give you a heads up. Check out this one. And I'd check out the stock symbol, go, whoa, it's down $2 a share from 8 to 6. What's going on? He says, story goes that so-and-so is selling a bunch of stock to get it down to $6.15 a share. Rumor has it there's a big transaction happening at $6.15 a share. There's a block trade being set up, and this guy is dumping the market to do a block trade. And then once the block trade is done, he stops selling, and the stock will just naturally drift back up to the $7.50, $8 range. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, 1 million shares traded hands, or 5 million shares traded hands, whatever the block trade was. And within an hour, the stock was back to $7.50 a share. Now, if you were an opportunist, you would say to your floor trader, oh, in that case, buy me 50,000 shares at $6.25, because I know they want to do the trade at $6.15. I want 100,000 at $6.25 a share. And he'd call you up and say, you got it. You own 100,000. I just got hit with that. He nailed me. He hit me there. I go, great. 5 minutes later, they do the cross at $6.15. An hour later, the stock's at $7.15 a share. And I'm calling my floor trader saying, sell my 100,000 shares at anything over $7.15 a share. $7.15 or higher, dump it all. And he'd call back in the next 10 minutes, say, you're out. You're out of all of it. Here are your fills. I sold for you 5,000 at 720, 20,000 at 722, 15,000 at 724, and so on and so on. You're out. You're gone. That's the good old days. I don't have that luxury today. And on this stock right here, we've seen it at 132, and it's now at 135. Volume on the morning for GameStop right now, 1.59 million shares. This is nothing. The stock should be trading 200 million shares. If people are dying to get out of this thing, there's no selling coming in. It is wiped out. The only selling is programmed selling from a seller, short seller, who's trying to drive the market down. That's what's going on. But remember, we're on an SST. We're on a short sale restricted mode right now. You can't hit bids. So what's happening is the only seller that can hit bids is a seller that actually owns stock. And if you're short with 25 brokerage houses, you're short millions of shares, you can't sell any stock through those guys at the market because you're already carrying short positions. Every sale you make with these guys is additional short positions. So you use other brokerage firms in London, Dubai, Paris, Tokyo, Hong Kong. You use brokerage firms everywhere else in the world where you electronically actually deposit stock that you've acquired. You may have literally bought this stuff in the last 3 days. You've bought stock at 140 to 150 a share, and you've now delivered electronically actual stock to these brokerage firms around the world, and then you systematically tell them through your computer, each of you sell 20,000 shares at the market right now of GameStop. And within 3 minutes, you get all these reports back saying, you sold this stock, you sold this stock, you sold it at 141, 140, 139, 138, 136, all the way down. And then another batch of orders went out all the way, more sells. We've gone down to 132. And in theory, the seller, the short seller, has sold an additional million shares that they bought in the last couple of days down to 132 to get the print, to get this lousy looking print. And now is instructing on text, probably text messages, email, to their shills, their analysts under contract, release another article about GameStop, telling the world how bad it is. Release another article about how the turnaround will not work. Release another article about how the stock keeps getting attacked all the time. Well, it's the same. It's the guy doing it. It's the guy. It's that guy. He's funding the announcements. This is all legal. This cannot be stopped, actually. There's actually no rule against it from what I can tell you, especially if you're doing it offshore. If you're in the United States, doing it in the USA, you're in trouble with the SEC, you're in trouble with the FBI, but if you're doing this from offshore, I suspect there's nothing that the authorities in the US can really do about it. This is what's going on. This might, again, all Bruce guesstimating what could be going on here with the GameStop shares. What I can tell you is they're at 135.30 right now. They're up $3.30 from the low of the day. The volume is approaching 1.6 million shares. That much I can tell you. That is how much I can say. 1.7 million now, trading at 135.26. The Dow is down 149. The S&P is up 4, and NASDAQ is up 110. So it's a mixed market on the big board. And maybe this offshore manipulator is taking advantage of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine uncertainty, taking advantage of the Dow being down 140 to try to run amok with GameStop shares. Maybe that's what it is. You got to take advantage of whatever you can take advantage of, because if you're short 20 million shares of GameStop, just suppose, let's say it's this kind of a seller, 20 million shares at 85 a share average, you're still off $50 a share times 20 million shares. You are down a ton of money, and that might be what it is. It's just that simple a situation. They're just trying to run that market to make their position look less bad, and if they can, in a relentless fashion, keep putting the pressure on the stock to get people to ask themselves, why am I even here? And I'm not going to be a buyer anymore on these dips because it doesn't seem to be working, then the shorters are going to win. And that might be what we got. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for 1,100 thumbs ups this morning already. Thank you for that. 92 on the downside. We got an 11 to 1, 12 to 1 ratio. We just hit 1,200 thumbs ups. 12 to 1 ratio, ups to downs. I thank you all very much for this. We are, as I say, watching this market with great interest, as we always do. And it is what it is. 1.7 million volume, which is light. This is not good news. If you are a shorter, you are not getting a zillion folks coming in behind you to join the party on the downside. They're just not coming in. It's I'm going to bet you that 1.2 million shares is the shorter trying to drive the market down, and 500,000 shares are day traders buying and selling this stuff, along with a bunch of dip buyers who are picking up dips, trying to get this stuff on dips. I think it's a combination of the three, all of which is bad news for the shorter, because you're not creating 10 million shares of panic selling by doing what you've just done to the stock. You're not scaring the street out behind you when you drove it down. No one is joining you for the ride. They're not coming along with you. It's actually going higher at 136.70 rather than going lower. So that's where I see it right now. We'll see what happens, but do not be surprised if articles come out today, tomorrow, next week, more and more negative articles about the company and the stock and the overall prospects of the company and the stock. I mean, they will stop at nothing to keep funding the negative news, and they will try to keep driving this market lower. But there will come a point in time, and it may have happened already. I cannot tell you if it has or not, but it may have happened that we've had the point of no return where we will not go lower. Now there will be a snapback rally, and it could be very severe. But I'm not here to be able to guarantee you that. I can only observe what I see. What I see right now is 136.08. That's what I see right now. Very interesting morning, as it always seems to be around here. 1.8 million shares traded on GameStop now. AMC at $8.48 a share. It opened with a nice little pop at up to $8.81. It got up to $8.81, and it's now as low as $8.31, and it's now at $8.48, down 14 cents, $8.45 right now, down 17 cents on 10 million shares of volume on AMC. That is a drop in the bucket of what could be trading on AMC. If there are a bunch of certificates out there that shouldn't be out there for AMC, along with declared short positions and the actual position of the company, you could be talking over 1 billion shares trading hands on AMC. That, unfortunately, is bad news because the street should have no trouble borrowing enough stock to keep those shenanigans going on AMC. With regard to GameStop, if there are 200 plus million shares actually trading hands out there, as long as buyers don't come in to pick up this stock en masse, the games will continue going forward on this manipulation stuff. While that's happening, Mr. Cohen and his associates systematically, ruthlessly, and deliberately making corporate moves, one after the other, after the other, after the other, to transform the future of this company. Its direction is undeniably going in another direction. Eventually, enough buyers will be attracted to that story because they'll hear about it en masse. Right now, they're not hearing about that story en masse. They're hearing about the negative story of how the stock is backing off. That's all they're hearing. That's the news they're getting drumbeated into their heads at the moment. But until the opposite story gets picked up, then we will see a move from the corporate side, which could be stunningly powerful. But at the moment, it's not yet happening. So maybe it's time to pick this stuff up on a deal. Maybe it is. You share so much real truth. You must be getting negative messages by those short sellers to stop, stand strong, being with you for a month. Like I say, it's not easy, but you know, you just gotta tell it the way you see it. And I do not see natural trading going on with GameStop. No way. If you are in the pre-market for 4 hours, trading between 140 and 144 a share for 4 hours, and then you see in 20 minutes the stock drop $9 a share, something's not adding up. That's right. Something is not adding up. So yeah, I like the stock. So you got to call it out. And you're not fooling me. I mean, you're not fooling me. But then again, I'm just a small YouTuber with 3,600 people watching me live right now. There's only 3,600 of you here with me. If each of you owned 1 million shares, you'd own all the stock. If each of you owned, one share, you have 3,600. You own 10 shares each, you got 36,000. You own 100 shares each, you own 360,000. You own 1,000, you own 3.6 million. I mean, we don't control collectively. Those of you who are here with me right now don't control this company. You're investors in this company. You're followers of this company. You're aware of what I think. You may or may not believe it, but you're aware of what I think. But the market as a whole, if there were 36,000 people here right now watching me talk about what we're watching happening live, if that many people were here right now and 36,000 of you decided we're each buying 100 shares right now of this stock, that would be a profound impact on the price of the stock. But it's not up to me and you who are here. We can only share our thoughts and watch what's going on. But eventually, a point will happen where the street will go, this is garbage. This is BS. This is all manipulated down trading. There's an opportunity here. I'm waiting for Wall Street Bets. Waiting for the Wall Street Bets crowd, 9 million of them out there, plus 10 or 20 more casual readers of Wall Street Bets and Reddit. I'm waiting for the Reddit community to go, this is being manipulated right now in front of our eyes. We should each pick up 100 shares each and convince 20 million people to buy 100 shares each of the stock. Just think about what that would mean. That would be, how many shares would that be? 20 million people, 1 share each is 20 million shares. 10 shares each is 200 million. That's all it would take, actually. 10 shares for 20 million people to step into the GameStop market right now, today. The stock could be 1,000 a share tonight. Because there's no way 200 million shares are available. There's no way 200 million shares are going to be shorted by this moron who's manipulating the market right now. I mean, I keep telling you, 10 shares from 20 million buyers through Reddit. Now that is an army that would overwhelm GameStop sellers, and it would cause a lot of GameStop sellers to pull all their sell orders out. They wouldn't want to offer it now, not at any price. And from here to 500 would be a wide open highway, 12 lanes wide, 100-mile-an-hour speed limit. No, go, just go. And it would reach that level in like an hour and a half. It would be there, which would then convince all the others to go, this is real. This is really real. We are actually 20 million large. That's how many of us there are. And at 10 shares each, we can take this thing to where we want it to go. We don't have to worry about any of these shorters. Then the hedge funds would be upside down $100 billion like that. They'd be down a ton of money. And then they would be scrambling the rest of the afternoon and tomorrow and the day after to cover themselves, and they would go out of business. You would crush a ton of them out of business within a week. That's the power of the Reddit crowd. They don't realize it though. They don't know it, because I'm not the leader of the Reddit crowd. No one is. Reddit is Reddit. Wall Street Bets is Wall Street Bets. But it requires the first million, I would say, the first million people that each try to get an average of 10 shares, that would be a 10 million share buy wave coming into this stock for, let's say, today. That would run it to $250 a share, $250 a share today. Tomorrow, another buy wave of another 2 million people at 10 shares each. That would bring in 20 million more of buying. That would take it to about $450 without too much difficulty, and people would get out of the way. I mean, it would just back off and go, I'm not selling. This wave is real. And then there would be a 5 million wave of 50 million shares of buying coming in from 450 to 800 to 1,000 a share. And hedge funds will join in the party, who will go along with you. And these shorters will get wiped out, and then their brokerage firms will call them up and say, I need triple the margin you've got. I need you to cover your shares. I need stock. I can't carry anymore. And all these guys now would pile in at starting at 700, 800 a share. They'd pile in, and you'd be at 1,500 a share by the end of the week, next week. But I don't know if that'll happen. I'm not the leader of that kind of an army. I'm just a guy sitting in front of a computer in his living room in Creston, British Columbia, 3 miles north of the Idaho border, saying, hello, everybody out there. Thank you for joining me today. 3,600 of you are here, 3,649 this actual moment in time. Thanking you for watching me and getting you to think about the fact that it is possible that, you know, if we actually were to stand up as a group and just buy 10 shares each, that's $1,380 worth of stock on average. If there were 20 million of us who were to do that, this stock would be gone. This would be in another universe. Of course, it would create all kinds of problems. You know, it would create problems because the company would have issues with their hiring practices, and all their employees would become multimillionaires overnight because they own stock, after all. And it would create all kinds of issues with respect to, well, should we sell 3.5 million shares in the open market? I mean, we can raise $1 billion like that. Should we do another offering? Should we as a corporation sell 10 million shares into this 200 million share buy wave of buying and bring in maybe $15 billion in cash? I would say yes, because that would completely transform the company yet again. It would then mean that the downside of the stock would never be under 300 a share or never under 400 share ever again, because with a $15 billion treasury and with 80 million shares outstanding, you got a very wealthy cash company that is just got completely transformed. Now they are buyers of other companies looking to, I mean, all in fast forward 10 times speed. I mean, that's what this would mean. But it has to start with somebody. And I think you should buy 10 shares of the stock and tell everyone else to do it. So all 3,600 of you have to tell 10 friends that to do this, and then they have to tell 10 friends and get it to 20 million people who are each going to buy 10 shares of the stock. And the sooner you do it, the better your price. And watch the hedge funds scramble for their lives because they would not know what hit them. And over on CNBC, they'd be wondering who instigated all this and should that person go to jail? I would get a knock on my door, perhaps going, were you the guy that was saying on YouTube about this? And I'm going, is that illegal? Am I being illegal if I say, that if 20 million of you out there each bought 10 shares of this stuff, this thing could go to the moon. Did you know that? Did you? Is that illegal? I don't know if that's illegal. Anyway, it's 138 a share. I got it up a couple of bucks. How about that? I'll take credit for that. GameStop volume 2.18 million shares. I don't think we've had an army of buying coming in here, but it is up from 132 to 138. The stock is now down 272 on the day. Again, I do not believe, in my heart of hearts, with 40 years experience in this market, I don't believe there was actually an account out there that held 1 million shares of stock that had to sell it in 18 minutes because they were forced to sell it. I don't think that was the case first thing this morning. I believe the selling was deliberate. It was manufactured over a wide range of brokerage firms, and that it was either for a put squeeze, in other words, to get put contracts to go up in value to score a deal on the options market, which should be investigated, or it was a combination of a group of short sellers or a short seller, big fund, that drove the market down through offshore means without getting caught by regulators to try to crush the market to the point where it scared people out, and it didn't work. It's now 139.38 on the stock. It has recovered $7.38 from the low in the last 25 minutes. Anyway, like I said, if 20 million of you out there were to just buy 10 shares each, that's 200 million shares of buying coming into this market. There's no way that you could get 200 million shares under 1,000 a share. There's no way. No way. Because 200 million shares of buying coming into this market in a hurry would cause another 150 million shares of buying from the short sellers, from those who are technically failure to deliver, all that crap. It's just broke 140, by the way. Maybe this is working. It would create such a panic of buying that the shares could run even higher. It would be halted every 15 minutes for the next 4 days in a row. It would dominate every channel in the universe as the story of stories, and the speculation would run rampant because these small retail investors have had enough, and they all want 10 shares of the stock. And people are going to be interviewed on the street going, why did you buy 10 shares? Well, I bought 10 at $145 because I had enough of these guys. I bought 10 at 155 because when I saw it go there, I knew it would go to 300. I bought 10 at 200 because as soon as it got to 200 a share, I was a believer because this thing's going to 1,000 a share or beyond. And it just feeds itself. It would just feed itself. 139.50 on the stock right now. So I guess we got it going. AB, Reuters or Barron's even had a report saying if it breaks 200, we're looking at 500 plus. If it falls below 130, we're looking at 75, then mass buying. Steve, thumbs up for Bruce, the instigator. There you go. I'm the instigator. I'm your friend, the instigator. 139.20 is the price of the stock. It's down to $1.89. It was down to 132 today. Stock markets, why would shorters buy when the stock spikes if they can hold indefinitely? Is it a margin thing? It's a margin thing. Yes, it's a margin thing. If the stock goes up $100 a share from here to 240 a share, the short sellers who are short, let's say they're short 100 million shares, just to use a nice round conservative number. Conservative. $100 a share on 100 million shares. How much money is that? All right, $1 a share is $100 million. $10 a share is a billion. 100 a share is 10 billion. So a 100 share move is a $10 billion problem for shorters. It's a much more expensive price to carry this market, right? You multiply it by 500 a share. It goes to $640 a share. $500 a share gain on 100 million. That is a $50 billion margin problem. That's all. It's just money, nothing personal. It's just money. It's their money. It's not your money. It's going to be your money, but it's their money. So if you would like your share of $50 billion, make a few calls, make a few texts to your friends and say, you know, we should each buy 10 shares of this GameStop. 20 million of us should buy 10 shares of GameStop. That would run this thing well beyond that price. And we would get $50 billion handed out to us in a nice, orderly way. Now, if you can make it go up $1,000 a share to $1,140 a share, it's $140 right now. Get it to $1,140. That is a $100 billion problem for the hedge funds at 100 million shares. But I don't think it's 100 million shares. I think it's 150 million, maybe 140, 150 million. I think it's a lot more than 100 million shares. I think it's really worse than that. And I don't think the stock would stop at 1,000. I don't think so, because there's no way to get the 100 million bought between now and 1,000. It won't. There won't be enough sellers to get them. As a matter of fact, I think if 20 million people tried to buy 10 shares each, that's 200 million shares of buying power, they wouldn't get the stock before it hit 1,000 a share. Not all of them would be filled. They might have to run it to $2,000 a share to get all the stock they want. But that's because they'd be buying along with the hedge funds who are trying to cover. We're at 143 a share, so the instigator is working. So that would run it to $2,000 a share. You see, so now it's a $2,000 a share problem times 100 million shares. It's $200 billion that would be lost by the shorters, or collectively, redistributed to those of you who are buying the stock. And so how much of that do you want? Now, if you bought 100 shares instead of 10, you'd have the 10 times the return, because of course you bought 100 shares, not 10. If you bought 1,000 shares, obviously, so it wouldn't need 20 million people at 10 shares each. It would only need, maybe 2 million people at 100 shares each. I mean, do the math any way you want, but there are 3,606 of you here, and it's now at $142.25 a share. It's up $10 since I started talking about the instigation. I'm just saying, there's power in numbers. There's power in small investors. There's power with hedge funds. But I'll tell you that small investors can run this market to prices you've never imagined before if you're resolved in what you're going to do. Yeah, and right now it's 142.39. So, thank you for believing in my channel, following me. AB, thank you for this donation. I'll take that from analysis no matter what happens. Short-term can't crash, mass buy, or gradual climb up. Hedgies are in trouble. People are buying. I'm telling you that this change of management and a new CEO, if they hire a CEO that is a named person, guy or gal, to come in here, watch out, because that hire, just that right person with the reputation of deliverance, of results, a result generator, the stock will double just on that, just on the right CEO. That's all it would take. Add a couple of directors to the board on top of that to put a little more rocket fuel on this thing. 600 a share. It goes from 150 to 300, from 300 to 600. Short squeeze, gazillions of buyers trying to buy the stock up, instigating this move. It's 1,000 a share. It's 1,200 a share. The hedge funds desperately trying to cover themselves up, and they can't because they can't get the millions of shares they need because they can't got enough. There's no millions of share sellers who want to sell. They're buying from 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and 8s and 15s and 12. They can't get gobs of the stock. They need gobs, and they can't get it. Up it goes again. It'll go to 2,000 a share. Yeah, it'll be ahead of the market. Yeah, it won't be worth 2,000 a share in the open market. I agree with that. But if the company plays its cards right and issues 1 million shares here and 1 million shares here and issues another 1 million shares here into the market offering, the company could be sitting on $25 billion cash. Stock trading at $2,000 a share. There's 80 million out. This stock would be worth 500 to 1,000 a share book value because they got all that much money, all that cash sitting there. And now they buy companies that are cash flowing all kinds of money. And that justifies the stock to go even higher. You know, the company gets richer and more people become directors. I'm just saying, you guys could be instigators. It's 144.85 right now. Just saying, you've moved it up already. I don't know if you've done it, but someone's buying this stuff. It's 144.76. It could go much higher than this. This is only the beginning. It's only up 367 a share. This is chump change. Remember where this was last week? 180 to 200 a share. Do you remember 2 weeks ago before the annual meeting? You remember during the conference call? Do you remember the conference call, the disastrous conference call after the market closed and before they started talking, the stock went up to $218 a share. It's at 143.80 right now. It's on sale. It's on a mega sale. Yeah, there you go. Bill, good morning. Second request. I know you got a lot. If hedge funds get it down to 85 and they're out, are they good? Then GameStop is based upon its value, perhaps? Well, I think that if the shares were driven down to that level, there would be new short sellers trying to get it down to 20 because there are old scores to settle, all right? Shorters never forget. Long holders never forget. These are ongoing wars that never get settled. But when a stock has an up momentum like it's having now, you are scaring the bejesus out of every hedge fund out there. There are hedge funds going, what's going on? What's happening? Who's doing this? Why is this happening? Why is this stock moving like this? 2.9 million shares, and it's up from 132 to 143 in 15 minutes. What the hell is going on? They're panicking right now. They're panicking, wondering what we pay guys to do bad news. Why is this thing going up? We're shorting it from every angle we can all over the world to drive this market down. Why is it going from 132 to 143 to 145 in 15 minutes? What the heck is happening? There's this guy in a living room in Creston, just kind of putting it out there that, if you guys all got together and just started buying stock at 10 each, 15 shares each, 20 shares each, 100 shares each, you could run this thing to the moon without anyone stopping it because they can't stop it. They cannot stop an army of ants from buying up every single stock available. These guys don't have enough paper. They don't have enough money. And the higher it goes, the problem they have is it's not like the broker calls up and says, those 100,000 shares you shorted this morning to add to your position, they've gone up $10 a share, right? I need another $1 million. No, the broker calls up and says, the 15 million shares you're short, I need another $500 million because all the stock is more expensive, not just your stock, not the shares that people are buying 5 and 10 at a time. All the shares collectively are more expensive right now. All of GameStop shares, every single one of them, whether there's 70 million, 210 million, a billion shares out there, whatever it is, every contract, remember every option contract? This morning, every call contract up to $132 a share was in the money. Now, every call contract up to $142 is in the money. That means every call contract that expires this week, next week, the week after, all of them. The higher this goes, the bigger the problem for the short sellers, the bigger the reward for the long holders, the higher it goes. And it just keeps getting pounding and pounds and pounds. And it gets to the point where the brokers are going to say, the brokerage firms, to their clients, I need $1 billion more. I need 500 million from you. I need 300 million from you. I need 200 million from you. The next broker calls up and says, I need $1 billion more. I need $5 billion more. I need $2 billion more from all the clients that are short this stuff. Because there's people out there selling this stuff that are short this stuff. There's a lot of shorted stock out there that needs to be covered and or handled or margined. And these funds are going, well, geez, we got to come up with $2 billion out of our hedge fund portfolio to handle our GameStop short. Darn it. We thought we were on the right track here, going back to 85 a share. What's happening? Well, there's this army of buying coming in. Well, who is it? We don't know who it is because it isn't one person. What do you mean it isn't one person? There's every brokerage house in the world has got buy orders. Every single brokerage house in the world has buy orders from 20 million people, each trying to buy 10 shares of the stock at the same time. It is just out of control. We got a wave of buying that we are getting bullets. There's bullets coming at us from every angle, and each rifle has 10 bullets. And it's replaced by another one and another one and another one. And our flak jackets are full of lead and can't take any more bullets. We're getting hit from every direction. And it is a non-stop, relentless thing. Oh, and by the way, Cohen is hiring a new CEO, and there are rumors of who this could be. And if this CEO person is of a stature that is a globally known person, watch out. Just what are you doing shorting this stock? Sorry, that's what I was going to say. If GameStop does hit, and after this is all said and done, and you believe the retail investors will successfully do the same thing with AMC on the same process, it would take more stock buying on AMC. But the good news for AMC is it's only an $8 stock. It's not a $140 stock. So in reality, it's actually cheaper to move GameStop than it is to move, cheaper to move AMC than to move GameStop, because GameStop goes from 140 to 300 to 600 to 1200. Those are big dollars, right? It would cost hedge funds billions, tens of billions of dollars in losses. Now the AMC, there are 400 million shares outstanding, 450, but they're trading at $8 a piece. It's a smaller priced stock. So 20 million people could probably each buy a couple of hundred shares each. Because, of course, if you can afford $1,400 worth of GameStop for 10 shares of GameStop, to buy $1,400 of AMC, you're going to get more than 10 shares. See what I'm saying? So there's that higher leverage factor. 10 shares of AMC is only $87. 100 shares is $870. So you can buy many more millions of shares of AMC collectively than you can GameStop, simply because of the math. And that's why AMC had a run to $20. It went from $2 to $20 in 6 months, last summer to the January, which is 10 times. GameStop kind of went from 5 to 500, but it really went from about $25, $40 to 500. It went up about 12 times during its real big run. But still, it's all relative. It's all money. But GameStop could cause the kind of damage to hedge funds that hedge funds don't want to talk about. They don't want you talking about it. They don't want me talking to you about it. They don't want the street to know that there are hedge funds out there who could go broke based on of GameStop shares taking off again. Because the amount of leverage that these guys have put together to hold these short positions without having to declare them to the street, the SEC does not make them tell us how many shares they are really short, whether it's through stock or puts or anything else, naked call writing and all the other stuff. We don't know truly who is short how much. All I can say is the higher GameStop goes and the faster it goes, the quicker we find out how bad off these guys really could be. And it will be tens of billions of dollars collectively of losses to the shorters. Yes. Because again, there are hedge funds out there who are well financed, who are sitting back going, I'll let that guy yap all he wants in his living room in Creston. We don't have to worry about that guy. He's a nobody. He has no power because they're thinking, well, we have $10 billion of available cash. We're only using $500 million right now on our position. We got 20 times the money to keep our position intact. We don't have to worry about Bruce and Creston at all. I'm going, okay, don't worry about me. But if 20 million people each want to buy 10 shares of GameStop in the next week, you guys are going to have not enough money. You guys are going to need $30 billion to cover your position, because if these shares run up 10 times their value to $1,400 a piece, you got yourself a $5 billion problem or worse, because your brokerage firm that is covering you right now and allowing you to hold the short position might force buy you in. They might make you buy in. And now you and 50 other hedge funds out there who are also short this stuff all get the buy-in notices at the same time, like within a few days of each other, starting at $350 a share, $550 a share, $850 a share, $1,400 a share. You're all having to buy up along with the 20 million people who are trying to buy 10 shares each. You're in trouble. You're not going to get it very quickly. It's going to take you days to cover. And by the time you start buying and when you finish buying, it went from $300 a share to $1,300 a share. And you went from thinking you're going to lose $1 billion to actually losing $8 billion times 50 of you guys or 20 of you guys or whatever the number is. It's staggering. It would be staggeringly staggering how much would be lost and transferred to small investors. But it takes the small investors to go, you know what, I'm going to buy this stuff and I'm going to hold my nose and I'm going to get in here. I'm going to pick this up and I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to tell all my friends what I'm doing. I'm listening to this instigator. And we're going to pick up this stock. That's what's going to happen. We've traded 3.3 million shares this morning, high of 145, now at 140 a share. It will do this. It will do this because there will be hedge funds flexing their muscles going, oh yeah, Mr. Instigator. Oh yeah, you 20 million people out there. Well, let's just see what kind of guts you have. How powerful are you really? How strong are you really? Oh, you know what? We'll wait for you to move the market up and then we'll slam it again. And we'll let you move it and we'll slam you again. Well, I keep coming back to the notion that if 20 million people come in to want to buy 200 million shares, these guys who are doing this slamming, they're going to need, let's say now, how many dollars are we talking about here? 200 million shares at 150 a share, just for easy mathematics. Oh, God. 300, is it $30 billion? 200 million shares at $150 a share. 200 million shares. See, I'm having trouble with the math here. You got to help me out. How much money is that? Is that 30 billion or 300 billion? Not sure. It's too many zeros for me to do. I'm too old with the zeros. That's my problem. I'm getting old with the zero. Yeah, 200 million shares at $150 a share. 200 million, 2 billion, 20 billion. It's $30 billion. I think it's $30 billion. I forgive me if I'm missing on this. It's $30 billion. There it is. Casey, thank you for helping me out. So do they have enough money, the hedge funds, to add $30 billion to the short position that they're carrying now on GameStop, assuming that the shares will not go above $150 a share? If the shares go to $600 a share because of this buying pressure, then it's a $120 billion problem because it'll be 4 times worse. Do they have $120 billion on top of the money they got now? Oh, and I forgot, they've already got a short position, right? They're already short 100 million or so, maybe 150. So if the existing position is already $22 billion and it becomes another 100 billion more, they've got a $220 billion margin call to actually handle. If they try to stop the 200, if they actually short enough stock to stop 20 million people from buying 200 million more shares, do they have 220 billion collectively? And while all that is going on, the 10,000 other hedge funds
who are not short any stock on GameStop, who don't even own any GameStop, who are just watching the show from over here. They're watching Uncle Bruce, the instigator, talk about that. They're sitting there going, well, you know what we should be doing? We should be buying this stuff too. We should buy 100 million shares because we've got trillions of dollars of capital behind us. There's 10,000 of us hedge funds. We control $4 trillion. Why don't we buy, why don't we each buy $100 million worth of this stuff and take a shot on it? And we'll run it up too. And so now the shorters are not battling the 20 million 10 share each people. They're also battling the 10,000 hedge funds with $4 trillion over here. They don't have enough money. They have a margin problem. That answers the question finally. They would have a margin problem. And their brokers, again, coming back to Wall Street, the brokers or the investment bankers at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Credit Suisse and all the Nomura's, the world's bankers will say to their hedge fund clients, we're not covering you anymore on any short positions on GameStop. It's cash only. You either own it or you don't. Cover your short position. We're buying you in. Like we're not even telling you to do it. We're just doing it to you. And now we have banks in trouble because if Swiss Bank comes out and goes, yeah, we got a couple of hedge funds that are good old customers of ours, and collectively they're losing $12 billion on GameStop, and we're having trouble collecting the money from them. Now the bank has a problem. Now that runs into the banking issue. See, this is where this can really go stupid. But at the end of the day, it's just a wealth transfer of money from the big guys to the investors. And if it's 20 million of you trying to buy 10 shares each of GameStop, you're the ones causing the problem for the massive guys. But you know what? Some of you get to pay off your student loans, or some of you pay off your second mortgages, or you pay off those credit cards and those car loans, or you help your children with their student loans, or you help grandkids get their down payment together on a house that they're trying to save up for, or you buy an RV and become a nomad, or you retire at age 42 because I just made $5 million. I'm retiring at age 40. Whatever your scenario is, remember a couple of things. Remember me, because I don't own any stock. Remember the instigator, and help me out, and then look after your family and take care of yourselves. But this GameStop at any time could go stupid by having an army of you guys tell your friends. Now we have 3,400 people here. If each of you tell your friends, buy 10 shares each of GameStop. Right here, right now, this is where you want to get in. Well, then if enough of you do it, this is gone. It's gone. It's long gone. And you'll sit back one day in a rocking chair and go, I remember April 21. Never forget the day I was watching Uncle Bruce and I picked up some stock on that GameStop like he told me to. And I called a bunch of my friends and we all jumped in there at 140, 142, 145, 150, 155, 160. And we kept buying that stuff. I'll never forget when that thing hit 600 a share. All those guys on CNBC, their jaws hit the ground. They couldn't believe it. And then I couldn't believe it when Elon Musk was going, way to go, you guys have done it. I couldn't believe it when Ryan Cohen came out with an announcement saying we've just issued enough stock to raise $25 billion in cash, and we're going to take over this company, this company, this company. I'll never forget those days. Whatever happened to Uncle Bruce anyway? Where is that guy? Who cares? I'm rich. I don't care what happened to him. 142 is the stock right now. The instigator says you're welcome. Good luck with that. You're up $10 a share from the low of the day, and that's what can happen. That's just saying. In case you were curious what the possibilities. Hi, Jen. How you doing?
Hi.
How's it going? We're having fun here today.
It is a beautiful morning.
It's a beautiful morning in Creston.
The start of gorgeous spring weather.
Yes. We need it. We deserve spring weather.
Bring on the dandelions.
Release the hounds. Release the hounds. Oh my gosh.
And they tell us now not to get out there and weed away your dandelions because apparently that is the first good spring food for the bees.
The
Who
bumblebees need the weeds to pollinate to
They
make
like
honey.
those dandelions.
They love them, their dandelions. Well,
And
there you
it's the first thing up.
It's the first thing up. That's right. That's right.
Doesn't matter. I'll be out there locking those heads off. Sorry, bees.
Sorry, bees. There it is.
Yeah.
So there you have
Go
it.
to a city park.
Get off my lawn, you dandelions. Get off my lawn.
That's right. Is it bagel time?
I think it's bagel time. I'm starving. I've been working hard here telling 20 million people to go out there and they should consider buying 10 shares of GameStop, each one of them.
Ah,
That's 200 million shares of GameStop buying power that would take this market to a level they've never imagined in their lives,
that's true.
causing billions of losses, hundreds of billions of losses to the hedge funds, transferring wealth to the smaller investor to a whole new level. Just think about
That's
that.
what the world is changing to.
You get 100 shares right now at $141 a share, going to $1,400 a share. You go from 14,000 to 140,000 in value, just like that.
Just like that.
Does that change lives? Oh, I would say so. Even 10 shares, you buy 10 shares for $1,400, turn into $14,000. That would make a difference.
But think of all the money that the government will lose because people will pay off their student loans early and they won't make all that interest.
Well, it's not government lending it; it's private industry, private business lending it. Actually, that would allow private business to re-lend the money to somebody else.
This is true.
That would be a big thing for the economy. And all capital gains taxes that would be paid would help drop down the deficit. The hedge funds would help drop the deficit, which would improve the standard of living of every American. This is the patriotic thing to do for your country. Think of your country. Buy 10 shares of GameStop and tell everybody to do
for
this.
your mom.
If you're not going to do it for your,
country.
if you're not going to do it for your mother, do it for your country. I mean, come on. Yeah, there you go.
My water's just about.
Oh,
boiling,
okay.
So what would you like?
Oh, fried egg sandwich today.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of ham on it.
Oh.
Oh,
You
yeah.
want cheese?
Sure.
Okay.
Ketchup.
Ketchup. Oh, yeah.
Bagel time. Fried egg sandwich, bagel time. Fried egg, bagel time. Oh, man. Billions and billions. Let's go, folks. Pick up buying this stock. Pick up 10 shares each and tell everybody you know. Pick up this stock. That's another thing that's kind of funny is people were mad at GameStop didn't sell during the early squeeze. They could have bought their own stock and rocketed even more. Apple does it. There you go. Save the country. Save the country. It's time to save America. Buy GameStop. If you truly are, if you love your country, buy GameStop right now. That's right. Because if all of you pick up GameStop, 20 million of you pick up 10 shares each, you would run this market to a level that's never been seen before. The capital gains taxes for America would be phenomenal. You would help pay down the deficit. You would make the country richer. You make yourselves richer. You'll spend the money that you're going to make in the economy, creating American jobs, and looking after your kids and grandkids. And there you have it. All right, there. This would be absolutely the best thing that America could ever have happen to it. How about that? I'm doing what I can. After this, Moons, we're coming to Creston for 2022, the GameStop Festival. There will be so many bagels and all the toppings you can imagine. Oh my. Make America great again. Run GameStop to $2,000 a share. Make America great again. It's so simple. But I'm British. Well, you Brits, you buy the stock. You'll make a bunch of money there. You'll pay capital gains taxes in your country. Make Britain great again. Talk about be patriotic for your own country. Do what's right for your country. Pick up GameStop shares and enjoy the ride. Now, there you go. I'm even helping out AMC. It's $9.10 a share. We got the instigator helping out AMC to $9.10 a share. How much more do I have to do for these stocks, to these companies? I do everything I can. Pay those capital gains taxes. Get some bullet trains in America. There you go. You want bullet trains in America? Buy GameStop and AMC. And you can build bullet trains in America too. Bruce, if you get a knock on your door from men in black suits, don't answer the door. Don't answer. God bless the USA. Buy 10 GameStop right now. I want to go Creston GameStop Festival around the giant teepee. And don't forget the free Tony. Don't forget the free Tony. Make the world great again. You see what we're trying to do here? $50 a day adds up pretty quickly. Pick up the dips. Looks like the AMC, your advice is up to, even AMC is going higher. See if all the wise moves you can make here, folks. Make it great again. Make Australia great again. There you go. President Cohen, leader of the gaming world. Jamie, retail already owns the entire float. It's time the counterfeit shares to be called back. There you go. Just squeeze them out. Aaron, thank you for becoming a member of this channel. Make America great again. Make the world great again. And please become a member of this channel too at the same time. Help us all. There you go. Don't worry. I'm buying anyway. Andrew, oof. I think someone put a vice in the microwave. That sounded whatever. Ionizing. Hedge funds have targeted all our economies worldwide. Let's get back on them while let's be a patriot. 141.74. It's up 65 cents on the day. The low on GameStop today, 132. Volume 3.69 million shares. That's all it is. 3.6 million, and the stock has come up $10 from the low of the day. Wow, it got as high as 145.38. It could go to 160 today, could go to 180 today. All you need to do is convince 20 million people along with you to buy 10 shares each. That's all. 2 million shares at 100 shares. 2 million people at 100 shares each would do it. It's only 2 million at 100 shares each. 200,000 at 1,000 shares each would do it. I mean, only 200,000 people can move this market to an unbelievable level. It doesn't take 20 million, but for 20 million people to buy 10 shares each, that's a no-brainer. Some can buy 1 share, some can buy 20 shares, some can buy 15 shares, some can buy 30 shares. Hey, that kind of buying coming in from around the world will run this market to a point you cannot imagine ever seeing. How can I say? I'm doing what I can. And we Dutchies will help America get great again as the beginning of the U.S. You see, there you go. Welcome, Aaron. We have a new member. Aaron is the newest, greatest member of this channel. Please welcome him. And if you haven't become a member, maybe you should consider becoming a member, because if you are a member of this channel, there will be times where I will send out alerts. And there are times I send out GameStop alerts. You'll hear about it before anyone else hears about it. If it's in the middle of the night and I figure out who that CEO is going to be, you're going to find out through member alerts first. So just so you know, it pays to be a member of this channel. Thank you for joining this group of crazy people. GameStop makes America great again. No president, only the taxpayer. Tony. SBAC list update, SPAC list update. Well, there's the hashtag on Twitter too. Antoinette, it would be nice if everyone would buy 10 shares. The country is still recovering. Another stimulus would be great, but people won't invest in it anyways. 10 shares is only your stimulus check, you know. It's all it is. It's just your stimulus check. Use your stimulus check to make America great again. Buy GameStop. There you go. It's so simple. It's right in front of you. How obvious do you want it? GameStop cruise with Uncle Bruce and Auntie Jen. There you go. Aaron, thanks for the shout out. Picked up the sweet dip this morning. There you go. T-Bone, make the world great again by GME. Antoinette, I put my entire stimulus check into GameStop. 8POM11, we're all in this together. But capital change, I'm so glad we found one another. Bruce, you make trading days so happy. Let's go, says Colin. Say less, brother. Say less. All shares should have a serial number. Holden, 12 GameStop at 120. I like the stock. Jonathan, 25 million people and 20 shares each is all the stock. That's right. Oh my gosh. Anton, I think someone should start a movement to get everyone to buy GameStop shares. Welcome to the crew, Aaron. Apes not in America can say what they want, right? Stymie money, baby. Stimmy money. There's no we in GME. Lord Charles, if hedge funds manipulation is illegal, how can they get so freely with all this manipulation? How can they do all that? Well, you know, they can do it for a while until they can't do it anymore. And as soon as you guys stand up as a unit and go, you're not doing it anymore, we're buying you out, we're taking you out, then it's all over. I could afford 7 today. I'm doing my part. Bruce, please don't disown this nephew. We put $8,000 of our 9,800 stimulus into GameStop. Lord Charles, because SEC doesn't find them high enough fines. Ashley, my stimulus checks went right into the market. The SPACs and GameStop are at this point. Dan, hiding in the bathroom to watch Uncle Bruce at work. Rock on, Bruce. Visceral, all of this on caffeine-free soda. Bruce, whatever you're on, I'll take 2. Mallow, ask not what GameStop can do for you, but what can you do for GameStop? They come for me. Hunger strike. They're coming coming for me. Aldo's laughing. You had so many people in an uproar yesterday with your swinging your thoughts on GameStop. It was kind of funny though. I got to say, Uncle Bruce Brigade, we can make the difference. There you have it. 141.29 on GameStop, 8.94 on AMC. The shares are higher today. I don't know where we're going to end up, but it wouldn't take much of an army to move these markets. That is for sure. The Dow is down 139 points. The S&P is up 3. NASDAQ is up 97 points this morning. Oil is up 49 cents. GameStop, 141.19, right at the break-even line for the day. All the losses in the first 30 minutes are gone, and the stock has come back. All we need now is an army of small buyers who've had enough of the manipulation caused by the hedge funds to stand up and say, I've had enough of this. I'm not taking it anymore. 20 million of us are each buying 10 shares of this stuff. Watch it go to the moon. You guys are going to get wiped out. And that's what would happen. You guys collectively could wipe out the hedge funds who are short this stock. You could really inflict some pain. Major transfer of wealth from one group to a huge group of people. It's up to you to decide whether you want it to happen or not. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it's all about numbers. What kind of news catalyst would it take to get GameStop to break the previous highs? I'll tell you, the speculation on the CEO could be one of them right there. We just started this search for a new CEO. I'm sure it's well underway. If this CEO is of a name, if this person has a brand name, some kind of a following, watch out. That could be the catalyst to just make this go nuts. Jim, Bruce, can you lend me some money? David's supposed to be studying, but Bruce is more interesting than math. Colin, do you smell that? It smells like bagels. Opportunity. Neat. Bagel time. Casey, this low thumbs up volume has me worried. How low is the thumbs ups? We've got right now 1,700 thumbs ups from a total of 3,191 people. That's all that I've got so far. 116 on the downside. People are upset that we're talking about how the shares can go to the moon today. I can't help these folks if they're upset. 1,700 thumbs ups. Thank you for that. Keep them coming in, folks. We do appreciate it. The faster we can get to 2,000 and 3,000 thumbs ups, the better. But you know what? It's one thumbs up at a time. There's 1,800 right now, one at a time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for following. Thank you for becoming members. Thank you for super chats. Thank you for everything. And, well, it's just time to make America great again, I guess, is what has to happen. It's time for GameStop to go up in price with an army of buyers that are just going to take this thing to a whole other level. Thumbs ups, bagels. Happy hour is every morning on the short attack. I'll tell you, my next buy limit on GameStop, take that price and subtract $10. This is a guaranteed dip of the day. I bought some more. We're up for the day so far. Hi, Bruce. Any thoughts on Coinbase opening tomorrow? I just am not sure about it. I just am worried that it's an overhyped, over-promoted, overpriced everything deal. I just am not sure. GameStop, I can understand GameStop. I can see the upside there. I can see how this company can become an e-commerce retailer. I can see how the street will say GameStop should be worth exactly what Chewy is worth. On a market cap basis, that would mean GameStop would be right now $500 a share right now. That would equal the value of Chewy. The guy that created Chewy is running GameStop. It's the same guy. He's going to do the same thing. It's such an easy buy. I see that one. I see the value there. I see the upside there. What can I say? A tweak from Elon would be a nice thing to happen too. Oh, we got a bagel coming in here. You gotta love it. We got ketchup right here in our little dipper bowl.
Well, you don't need that little crumb.
Oh, we don't need that crumb.
I'll eat that one.
We'll get rid of that for you. Look at that bagel right there. Oh yeah. Oh, you want some? I'm giving it to you. It's coming right at you. bagel right at you.
Let's-
Oh
yeah,
my
there you go.
gosh, here's the bagel. I gotta just
Here.
there it is
Take
right
one
there.
of these and just
Let's kind of yeah,
clean
we'll kind of
the butter off the computer.
we'll clean up the MacBook Pro from
Yeah.
the bagel residue.
I know butter goes with everything, but I've never actually had butter with an apple.
Butter and apple.
Butter and cinnamon and
well,
butter. And
apple and an apple pie, that's true.
butter and cinnamon.
Butter and cinnamon.
Yeah.
Oh, butter and cinnamon. Oh, so good, butter and cinnamon.
Okay.
Okay, Jen, thank you so much. Oh, we're gonna have fun here. We're looking forward to having this bagel. We're at 141.10 on the stock right now. I should have started eating the bagel at 132. But let's see what happens. I'm excited to see what's going on. We have a new member that just joined the channel here, Dwayne Roderick. Dwayne, thank you for joining the group here. A new member. This is beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate your all going.
Is when you started thinking about it.
Well, that's true. 132. I started thinking about the bagel, but oh my goodness, yeah. If these shares go to equal the value of Chewy, your stock is $500 a share. So if you think you folks are buying this at a high price at 141.07, think again. You're getting it on a mega discount here. It's not even worth a third of Chewy right now. It's not even a third of the Chewy price. And it's the same guy running this one that created Chewy. So the upside, it's there. What can I say? Bruce, you say it how it is, and you're still the GOAT. Thank you, everybody, so much. We're having a bagel. We're going to have a bagel, and we're going higher. 141.05. Let's see what happens. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah. It's bagel time. Woohoo! Save the bagel. AMC 906 up 44. Go AMC. Go GameStop. $141 on GameStop. All right. Bagel time. Bagel time. How are we looking on the SPAC front? Things are happening on the SPAC front. We have news coming up soon. We'll be busy. We'll be busy on the SPACs. Saved by the bagel. Chewy getting the bagel bump instead of GameStop. AMC and GameStop have the same chart again. Oh boy, Colin, the ticker stopped for a second. Thought we were halted. 141.06. I'm showing on the GameStop. I'm all in. Bruce, great show. Got to run and look at a job I may want to bid on. See you for the late show. 132 was the nice mega discount. Chewy's up 1% since the bagel started. Dogecoin is staying over 0.8. It's not. I'm hungry now. I'm hungry. Yes, you can. Anna, welcome to the show, Anna. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the party, Anna. It's nice to have you here. It's fantastic. More and more women are joining this channel every week. It's fantastic. We are climbing on our statistics on female viewership and participation. I think it's fantastic. Jen is so happy. My daughter is happy. 142.38 on GameStop. We're going higher on the GameStop. We're going higher. Anna, welcome to the show and to the channel. Nice to have you here. That has me thinking, says Dee. Hey, John, how you doing? 143 on GameStop, going higher. Girl power. Girl power. Anna is asking, hi, Bruce, happy to become a member. Could you please reflect on what could happen after the 20th of April when assuming most shareholders would recall their shares? I'm really not sure if anything will happen, to be honest. I really am not sure. I don't know how this works. I am not of the thought that the shares are going to be brought in or anything like that. I'm not sure about that. I think that there'll be an accounting of stock, but I am curious to know if they call when they call the annual meeting, which is June 9th, and then they have votes. What happens if there's 200 million votes cast for a motion? How do they handle that? There's only 70 million outstanding. I've always wondered to know this. I don't know. Would make for quite a story on CNBC. This is so good. Oh, man. You gotta love it. Jane, you got it. Financial feminism, you got it, Jane. Welcome to the club, Anna. Ape power, girl power, bagel power, ape strong together. Tesla up 5.4%. I'm doing okay. If I can get to golf tomorrow, it's hard when you got two boys in baseball every day. Bruce, what do you think of Starlink and if and when they offer an IPO? What do you think of Starlink? I haven't got an opinion on Starlink. Did you skip my super chat? If I did, it was by accident. It's not on purpose. It's only because I am so behind on comments. I'm trying to stay up on all the comments. Let me take a look here again. It was Silver Chavez. Silver, here it is. Why do you think GameStop and AMC are shorted exactly at the same time? What's your theory behind this? I think there's a lot of people who play both stocks at the same time. I think that since approximately December, when the story started coming out about GameStop and Wall Street bets and the short positions, AMC was always in the discussion because there was a high short interest in AMC. That was same with Bed Bath & Beyond, same with BlackBerry. There was a lot of talk about a number of shares that were all shorted heavily. So they became known as the meme stocks. They all got followed by a huge group of Reddit people, Wall Street Bets people. And I just believe that a lot of people were buying and selling GameStop and AMC and BlackBerry and all at the same time. And I can see GameStop being a stock to buy in the 30, 40, 50 range. But I can also see AMC at $7, $8, $9 being picked up because it was cheaper. You could buy more shares for less money. Some people were totally ignoring the corporate side of the story. They only wanted to play a short squeeze game. They didn't care about the theaters. They didn't care about GameStop stores. They didn't care about all that. They just wanted to be in on the action. And action they got, a lot of action. However, as time has gone by, we've seen what the shares did in January and in February. We've seen what they've done since March. And you've noticed that AMC has not gone back to the $20 level they once had. They got back to that 14 neighborhood, but that's about it. And now we're in this range here, $8, $9 a share. GameStop did go from $38.50 to $3.48 or something like that, come back, and now way up, and now here we are here. So there's still a lot of similarities with movement, but corporately, they're both different. They're very different corporately, very different, and always will be different because they're not the same kind of company. But there are people with very, very emotional ties to these stocks. And if you talk badly about them, you get the wrath of these people. If you try to speak in a semblance of realistic what's going on, it may not be appreciated. And so you have these issues. But right now, they're both doing well. But GameStop is only even. It's only up 81 cents on the day. It was down $10. It's come all the way back. AMC, on the other hand, is up 36 cents. Maybe it went down too much yesterday, but it's up 36 this morning. But as I've said earlier, and I will continue to say, there are more of you watching the stocks of GameStop and AMC in numbers than the shorters could ever overpower. You actually have more power than the hedge funds combined. And as I've said before, with the Reddit crowd and the Wall Street Bets crowd, if these folks were to gather up their emotions and say enough is enough with this nonsense and these hedge funds pushing us around, we should, as a 20 million person army, which is what I think Reddit is, if not more than that. We know that Wall Street Bets has at least 10 million viewers now. Where I'm sure there's 20 to 30 million people who follow Reddit closely. But if 20 million of those folks decided to just buy 10 shares of GameStop as a starting position, that would overpower all the short selling that's out there, all the artificial short selling that's out there, all the synthetic nonsense. It would create such a problem for naked option writers that the demand for this stock would be overpowering to the tune that the shares would reach levels you've never dreamed of. And we're not talking about getting to $400 or $500 a share, folks. I'm talking about thousands of dollars a share, because I believe that the brokerage firms who are bankrolling and are helping and assisting and covering up for all their clients who are short the stock, they'll be the first group to go, uh-oh, we gotta call in our markers. We gotta call back our markers on all the stock that we're helping being out there. And we got to cover it up. We got to get back. We got to buy stock back to get out from underneath this unbelievable position we're finding ourselves in. Because with 20 million people buying 200 million shares of this stock, plus a whole bunch of other people out there who are going to want to in on this party, who are going to want to join this run, this massive surge of buying, this could come in to the point where 500 million shares of stock would be wanted, and it's just not available at under $1,000 a share. It's just not available at under $2,000 a share. The company itself would have no trouble issuing stock into this running market, raising billions of dollars in cash to build up their bankroll, their bank account, to the point where they'll come out to the street and say, we got 80 million shares outstanding and we've got 20 billion in the bank cash. We got tons of this cash. We got 15 billion in the bank, and the stock will never go under 200 again, 250 again, under 350 again, because we got that much in cash or more. If they issued 30 million shares in the next month and they were to raise $30 billion, there'd be 100 million out with 30 billion cash in the bank. That's $300 a share in cash on hand that they can now invest and exploit the future of their company with, plus the stock they could keep issuing for new acquisitions. The GameStop company would be a completely different organization, completely different within 6 months. You would not recognize it anymore. And its base value could well be $2,000 a share and up. It's $142.63 right now. I would say that right now it's on sale. That's what I'm thinking about. Especially if 20 million people want to buy 10 shares each, this stock's on sale. By the way, I got to have my second half of my big. Oh, yeah. Just tell me. Just tell me which one. Again, Hans, you could be right. I do not know. They need to have the numbers correct by then. Otherwise, you look out. Would be heartbreaking to see them just not recall the fake shares, the vote. Worried that's also will happen. We're going to see. We're going to see what happens, kids. We'll be around to watch it. Fire up the crystal ball. Make us rich, please. Here we go. Eating PBJ on English muffins myself. Bruce says girl power as he makes Jen get him a bagel sandwich. Well, you know, Jen knows that she can keep me fed. I can keep talking. If I can keep talking, the shares go higher. Shares go higher. Times are better. Jen knows the game. Yeah. Oh boy. Keep an eye on all these comments. I'm just trying to read through a bunch of them here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're up over 142 on the stock right now. Thank you. I can't help it, Sharon. I just can't help it. I gave up Reddit for Bruce. Ray, thank you. Hi, Bruce. Any thoughts on IEX? I have no idea who that is. I don't know what that is. Please tell all how to contact their broker to be certain they can't trade their shares if margins are on. I wish I could tell you that. JF, welcome to the channel. Nice, nice to have you here, JF. Just in time to watch me eat my bagel today. Glad you're here. Another new member. This is beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for coming in here. Baking. So exactly it's going on with GameStop around 420. I saw some people talking about a share recall, but I have no idea what the heck is going on. I'm not exactly sure either. I don't really know what this means. I would like to think it will help the stock, but I really don't know if it can. I really don't know. What can I say? Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for following me. We're at 141.69. What are your thoughts on Impossible Foods looking to go public via SPAC? Will that merger be on your radar? I don't know. The deal's got to be the right deal. It's got to be the right kind of deal. Sometimes a brand will be, enough to make a stock do well, but sometimes it's the fundamentals, not the brand. You gotta have the best of both, right? That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm thinking about. That bagel was great. Beautiful. Love it. GameStop volume. 4.1 million. There's not a lot of stock coming up for sale here. Interestingly enough, these shorters are not able to cover up their short situation. Get an army of buying coming in here. This stock is gone. This stock is gone. There's nothing to stop this stock. There is no stock to stop it. Justin, Bruce, if banks reduce hedge fund leverage on derivative products after the Archegos collapse, wouldn't that affect GameStop next week since all option contracts are being re-hedged on Friday? Yeah, I would say going forward, this could be a major thing for the company, but I can't guarantee it in any way. I can't verify it in any way for you. But if brokerage firms begin to tighten up the margin requirements for hedge funds who are short GameStop, or they get very picky regarding non-delivery of securities, and they have a short fuse of buy-ins, forced buy-ins, look out. The stock will take shots, real serious upshots, because instead of getting a bunch of small investors buying up the stock, you're going to get large block trade buyers just coming up and at market buying whatever they can get at whatever price they can get it. It would be the opposite of what we were watching this morning, where the stock this morning in the first 10, 15 minutes of the day, for some inexplicable reason, was being blown all the way down to 132 a share. No reason for that whatsoever. It was just someone trying to affect the market on the downside. Someone just trying to get messing up, make the stock look gosh awful. It didn't work because buying came in. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, you get enough small investors coming into this stock of GameStop, 20 million people buying 10 million shares each. This thing is gone. This thing is off the charts, unrecognizable pricing, and the billions lost by these hedge funds would be 100 billion or more. It would be huge losses. Brokerage firms will not wait very long to force buys into this stock. Not long at all, because there's all kinds of SEC sniffing going around right now about failure to deliver issues. The DTCC group, they're tightening it up. I think that this is going to get more difficult to carry non-deliverable stock scenarios. I think that's just going to happen. But I can't tell you what minute it'll happen. But I'll tell you what'll speed it up. The upward movement of the stock will speed this whole thing up to a point where you won't believe how fast it goes. The first move from this level here to the 300 level is a major, difficult, piles of volume buying will have to be done to get it there. But from 300 to 600 will take half the volume, and from 600 to 1,000 will take a tenth of the volume, because by the time you get to this 400, 500, 600 a share neighborhood, everyone will have been bought in or will be being bought in by everybody else, and the stock will just run 100 a day every day. It'll just run up $100 a share every day. So this next $120, $160 a share move, this is the hard one right here. This is where the grinding is getting done. This is where you're watching sausage getting made. It's ugly. But once you get through this level here, you're on your way. You're absolutely on your way. Anyway, there you have it. That is where I see it. What can I tell you? Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for all these comments. Lots of questions about other stocks that I don't follow at this point. Thank you for the 2,000 thumbs ups, 133 on the downside. We'll take it. We've got way more up than down today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you all for becoming members of this channel and sending me very kind messages. I do appreciate it. We're now looking at let's see here. Bruce, still holding on MUDs. It's up 7% today. I'm banking on tops for NFTs. Hologram, I'm not sold on that deal at this point. I'm not sold on it. Mike, Bruce, have you heard anything about Coinbase going public? I have, but I'm not following it closely. I'm leery of the Bitcoin thing, leery of the thing. I'm leery of governments getting in the middle of mucking it all up with regards to taxation issues. I'm really worried about this. Ashley, all that sell energy from this morning, it just vanished. Bruce, what do you think about Honest Company? Plots a comeback on its IPO, Jessica Alba. I got no thoughts on it, nothing about it. Classic Protein is a resource hog. The future is lab-grown proteins. Whatever it is. There is no sell, there's only hold. Failure to deliver. Ripple in the water where there is no pebble tossed or wind to blow. Jerry Garcia on market manipulation. Hologram, don't knock it till you've tried it. How low volume? Is low volume because 70% of GameStop trades are option trades? Not really. I just think that what we have here with GameStop is you got a bunch of investors. You got millions and millions of investors that own a ton of this stock. I think the retail army already owns over 100 million shares of stock. The remaining shares that are out there are held by institutional investors, and they're not selling this stuff. They're long-term holders of this stock. So the only selling you're going to get is from retail investors who you can scare out. The problem is, I think, that retail investors are going to come into this stock in a bigger way. And I would not be surprised that the day will come at any time where an army of retail investors who are already in this thing and who are thinking about getting into this thing and been waiting for the right moment to get into this thing are going to come in here looking for a couple of 100 million shares, and they're not available. They're just not available from sellers at these prices. You might get a couple of million down here between 140 and 160. You might get 4 or 5 or 7 million up to 180. You might get 15 million to 200. Yeah, that's normal. But you want to buy 200 million shares of GameStop at 10 shares at a time from an army of buyers, you're not going to get filled under $500 a share. There's just no way that's going to happen. There's not enough paper available to fill that kind of demand. And on top of everything else, 150 odd million shares are out there that shouldn't be out there now. Those shares have to be bought back, and that will be added on top of the 200 million share army. Now you're looking at 350 million shares of buying interest. And then you got the speculators who are going to go, you know what? I have a feeling there's 350 million shares of buying coming into this stock. I'm going to buy up 100,000 shares. You're going to see hedge funds all over the street, each trying to buy 1 million or 2 million shares each of this stuff long. There's another 200 million shares of buying interest on GameStop. The next thing you know, you got 600 million shares of buying interest coming into GameStop shares, and I don't know where you're going to find it under 1,000 a share. I don't know how that any way that you're going to fill all that demand at under 1,000 a share. I just don't see it. That's what I'm wondering about. Oh, in the meantime, they're hiring a new CEO. That's happening in the meantime too. Let's not figure that out. That is another little thing coming along. Oh, it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun here. Anyway, what can I say? It is just going to be a most interesting time coming ahead here for us. Yeah. What can I tell you? I think we're going to have ourselves a bit of fun here. But that's just me. That's just me. All right. Okay. All kinds of comments coming in here. What if, if retail owns 100 million, how can they all vote on 69 million? Exactly right. How can that be? How can you have votes of 70 odd million shares if the street owns over 100 million, institutions own over 100 million? How does that happen? How can you have so many votes? I kind of wonder about that myself. Yeah, I kind of wonder about that. Anyway, there you go. So much fun. Drink up, peeps. Yeah, I think we're going to be into a little bit of fun here coming up. 139.07 right now, down $2 on the day. Volume on the day now is, let's see, 4.3 million shares. Like I said, not a lot of buying is needed to move this market. I think when it was at 132 this morning, I think it had traded about 2.5 million shares maybe, and it only took about 1 million shares of buying, if that, maybe 500,000-600,000 to run it up to 140, and then it went higher to 145. So it didn't take much at all. So you bring in 20 million shares of buying a day for 10 days in a row. This army of buying, this stock, 30, 40, 50 bucks a day, every day, relentlessly every day, would just go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And that's where I'm thinking, just trying to follow this market to kind of tell you what I think is happening. AMC 884 up 22 cents a share, a high of 912 today, 26 million volume. So that had a nice bounce today. No other SPACs are doing anything at this point today. Kind of quiet. The Dow is down 101 points. It is the laggard right now. But I'm not sure if that's going to last all day. Something tells me New York's going to have a turnaround as the day wears on. Something tells me the Dow is going to have an up day when it's all over. Microsoft up $1.60, Apple up $1.70, Tesla up 33 to 735, BlackBerry up 3 cents. Cruise shares are off a little bit. Royal Caribbean down 65, Norwegian down a nickel, Carnival down 22 cents a share. I just have a feeling that the Dow may have an up day today when it's all said and done. They may not have a down day at all. We'll follow that. We'll keep an eye on things. Like I said, I'm thinking we may have a scenario. Bruce, your instigator, just saying, we may have a scenario where an army of retail buyers will just come into this stock, GameStop, try to buy 10 shares each on average, 20 million of them, telling the hedge funds, enough's enough with you guys. We're just going to buy you out. And hedge funds will be blown out. They'll be constantly blown off. They will lose hundreds of billions of dollars on this deal. If they're not careful, they're going to lose terribly. But I can't help you. Dare hustle. When retail hold, it sounds like 10,000 is possible. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. But I'm just looking at the first $1,000 a share. That's all I'm looking for. It's the first 1,000. Then we'll deal with it from there. But we'll see what happens with the new CEO, whoever that's going to be. I'm curious if that's going to be a named person we know of, or someone from a senior position at a big company coming in here. Oh man, watch out! Just look out. There could be a real run here. 140 on GameStop. We have reached the 3-hour moment in time where I will shut down the show for now and take a little break. I will keep an eye out for news and do some more due diligence and catch up with you folks at 3 o'clock Eastern time today, where we will see how the market does this afternoon. Luke, Uncle Bruce, what are you looking for in a SPAC? What is specifically attractive? What is it? The SPAC's future usefulness? I'll answer that this afternoon. We'll talk SPACs more this afternoon, along with GameStop. But if GameStop is at $250 a share this afternoon, I might have to be spending more time on GameStop only. But if it's in this neighborhood, I'll definitely talk about SPACs too. So join me this afternoon. Come on by. Join me at 3 o'clock Eastern. Let's talk about the markets. Let's follow it and play in English together. I'm not disappointed in how GameStop started the day. Now that we're past that first hour, but I shake my head at any hedge fund out there daring to short this stock. You got to be kidding me. You guys are asking for it. You're just asking for it, but hey, maybe they should get it. If they're asking for it, maybe they should get it. Thank you, everybody, for being here, following me, your support, and your comments. Thank you also for these thumbs up today. 2,000 thumbs ups. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you this afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time for more fun until Daddy takes the T-Bird away. Have a great rest of the day. And we'll see you this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and let's go GameStop to the moon. How about that? Okay, we'll talk to you soon.